Well, good morning from Franklin College, more specifically the H. Dean Track and Field Complex here on the campus of Franklin College for today's coverage of the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on IndianaSRN. Alongside Troy Darengowski, I'm Kurt Darling. We're going to be bringing you all the action live here today from 9 a.m. right now to about 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, as we will have a fun-filled day of track and field championship action. Troy, good to be with you here today. Obviously, it was a fun-filled day yesterday with everybody getting things going, and of course, more events taking place yesterday. Now, deciding some championships here today.
Yeah, I know you'll get a chance to recap some of the things that happened on day one. What was impressive about yesterday, it was cold, windy, rainy, just not a perfect day for track and field when you consider what the athletes had to go through. Yet there were some records that were set yesterday, and I expect more here again today.
Of course, taking a look at some of the schedule today, as you can see on your screen now, the women's javelin competition is underway. Of course, the men will follow as the day goes on. But yesterday we had the women's pole vault competed, as did the men, as well as the triple jump, the discus throw. Lots of field events knocked out yesterday, as well as the men's shot put. And then on the track and field action, and on the track action as well, you had the 3,000-meter steeplechase. Then you had the women's and men's 100 and 110 high hurdles qualifying, as well as the 400 dash qualifiers as well. So lots of qualifying action taking place yesterday, which is really setting the stage for a lot of really good races here once we get on the track here at about 12:30 later this afternoon. And one in particular, of course, always looking forward to the 100-meter dash, which is going to be one of the high events here today. Of course, the women dominated yesterday by Narindwa Semikula of Rose-Hulman, only a freshman this year. She's going to be somebody to watch in the women's 100 later today. Then, of course, you have the high jump taking place today, and the 800-meter run going to be going on later this afternoon, as well as the men. But also, one name I want to talk about with you as well here, Troy Darengowski, Enrique Salazar, dominating yesterday in the 10,000. We're going to see him again in the 5,000 here later today.
Well, he was really, really impressive in the indoors that we ran just a couple of months ago. And what makes him very unique when you watch him run, he can either pace the field or he can run behind the pace. And he runs so effortlessly, it almost looks like he's not even trying, and that's what is impressive about him, and he's going to be another fun one to watch today.
Certainly is. Of course, somebody else going to be fun to watch today, our own Keith Myers. He is going to be roaming the sidelines and everywhere in between here. Keith, first off, how many miles do you think you're going to put in on your Fitbit today?
I will walk at least 7 miles today. I have scouted out the concession stand. They do have popcorn, so if you need me, I'll be over here to start. And then later on, I'll be doing track and field, be interviewing a lot of coaches as well. Looking forward to a great event.
Of course, it was a great day yesterday. And, of course, now coming back here today, you've been following the HCAC all season long, as well as indoor events earlier this year. What are you expecting as far as performances, but also what do you like about being out here at this event?
I think Rose-Hulman's going to be the favorite, fellas. I really do. I think Rose-Hulman's got a great opportunity to win this thing. But it's really even. The indoor track was so much fun. Troy and I spent countless hours of reliving that, and that's what we're going to see. These talented kids are very, very good, and they're young. If you look at the rosters, these teams, Troy, are freshmen, sophomore, some juniors, not many seniors on these rosters. So young teams going to be competing for a long, long time.
And so now, of course, you mentioned the scoring aspect here at Keith Myers. On the women's side right now, Hanover has the lead after day number 1 with 75 points to Manchester's 68, and followed by Rose-Hulman at 45 points, and it goes down from there. On the men's side, Rose-Hulman, as you mentioned, ahead 82 points to Manchester's 55. Now, Manchester really has been dominant so far here over the last couple of seasons, though, but Rose-Hulman has been a historically dominant program as far as track and field is concerned. They're really getting back on the horse.
Yeah, they were dominant. In fact, Keith, you go up through the pandemic where they didn't have the outdoor, then they come back and win it again the next year. And then, of course, Manchester on the men's side did such a great job last year. But you're right, I think Rose ready to get back on the top of that podium.
The other thing, fellas, is yesterday it was windy, cold, and 42 degrees at this time. It is 53 degrees. It's supposed to get up to 65, 67 degrees. We'll be shedding some of our sweatshirts, but you see over the javelin throw, they're already shedding sweatshirts. They're ready to go. I think we're going to have a nice night, a nice day. If it stops, doesn't rain until about 5:30 or 6, I'll be happy because I don't want to get in the rain today.
None of us want to see that happen. Of course, neither do the competitors as well. Keith Myers will be checking in with you throughout the day. Troy Darengowski, good to be with you, as well as our entire Indiana SRN crew. Fabulous to be out here on a really good day here to start this day 2 of the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Right now, enjoy the competition of the women's javelin throw. We'll be checking back in with you in about a half hour or so. Enjoy. I'll just leave that one open, so ambient noise. Let's be quiet around here.
What do you guys use for your wireless?
Something called Cinegears.
What's the reach on it? Like that.
Yeah.
But what's nice is that they have the repeater, so we put the repeater on, but it still is.
It's just so.
And it depends on the weather. You know? I tell people that and they laugh about it. I said, no, you could do any research, and that's how waves travel.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you want to have the clouds and everything else. You were at Rose last week, weren't you?
No, we weren't.
Aren't you being a sports broadcast?
No, they stole our name actually.
Are you kidding?
I'm not. We were looking for a contract. We were going to get a contract over there, and we went over. They walked in a couple days ahead of us and said, "We're here to sign a contract," and they were going to
Oh
switch.
my God.
And they said, "Well, we're Indiana.
Oh my gosh.
We're Indiana SRN. Sports radio. They used to be a Wabash Valley school."
You know, we'll work with you.
So you weren't going to put anything up there until the track.
Yeah.
Looks good, Matthew. Chuck looks good too. Chuck, see if you can give me a wide shot.
Okay, yes.
So I can kind of show the scope.
I'll have an interview with Stacy when we get back.
Chuck, pan a little bit, just give us the whole area. Okay, take 4.
See if they're still looking for catchers.
Chuck, see if you can move toward where the javelin's landing, where you were before.
Riley is next. Evelyn is on deck. Taylor is on hold. Kylie is up.
Chuck, can you get the landing?
Evelyn is next. Taylor on deck. Aaliyah on hold. Evelyn is up. Taylor is next. Aaliyah on deck. Madeline on hold.
Keith, do you think that you can take your mic over to where that guy's announcing who's up next?
Taylor is up. Go.
We're live now. Your mic's on. You have to turn it on.
Leah is next. Madeline on deck. Maddie on hold. Leah is up. Madeline is next. Maddie is on deck. Jill is on hold. 29.29. Madeline is up. The throw. Maddie is next. Jill is on deck. Alexis on hold. 30.55. Let's go, Maddie. Maddie is up. Jill is next. Alexis is on deck. Jessica is on hold. 27.64. Jill is up. No mark. Alexis is next. Jessica on deck. Kylie on hold. Alexis is up. Second attempts. Good throw. Jessica is next. Kylie on deck. Evelyn on hold. 28.06. Jessica is up. No mark. Kylie is next. Evelyn on deck. Taylor on hold. Kylie is up. No mark.
That was not flat.
Evelyn is next. Taylor is on deck. Aaliyah is on hold. Evelyn is up. Good throw. Taylor is next. Aaliyah on deck. Madeline on hold. 32.79. Taylor is up. Good throw. Aaliyah is next. Madeline on deck. Maddie on hold. 31.44. Aaliyah is up. Good throw. Madeline is next. Maddie on deck. Jill on hold. 37.15. Madeline is up. No mark.
Here we go, Maddie.
Maddie is next. Jill is on deck. Alexis is on hold. Maddie is up.
Here we go, Maddie.
Troy Derogowski with me, and we're javelin and some nice throws here.
Well, you just saw a little bit ago Elia Jones at 37.15. She bested her first throw by nearly 8 meters. But we're keeping an eye on Jill Wilhelm. She had I don't know if she scratched on the first one, but she's up next, and she was the leader in the first round, and she threw a 39.61. Let's see if she can top that now.
Here we go. Well, I think she did.
It's going to be really close. I'll be curious to see. She had a much better throw this time than she did last time, at least from the standpoint of not scratching, so it'll be interesting. 37.3, so she was a little bit off the mark that second one.
Alexis is up.
As you can hear our judge introducing all the participants today.
No mark.
You know, the wind is a lot better than it was yesterday. They were fighting the wind today. It looks like the wind's it's still coming toward them, but it's a little bit better, and it's not as high as it was yesterday.
Yeah, and it appears it's coming from, if you're facing the throw, it's coming from the left side. So a lot of them are throwing toward the left, have the wind bring it back. By the way, Jill Wilhelm threw a 37.3. That is the best throw we've seen so far in this championship round. But you know what? You said, yesterday was so cold. Today probably feels like a warm front for these athletes because, again, we're early in the day. We're getting some sunshine, and that even helps mentally that you're kind of feeling much better about it.
There's not many sweatshirts out here.
Well, I'll tell you what. if you're going to throw the javelin, it's going to be like any of the field events. You're going down as far as you can because you want to get rid of any extra weight possible.
Are you supposed to throw it at the guy?
Well, you know what? Kurt made a good point earlier. You better keep your head on a swivel because we have seen a couple of throws go foul, and you really got to be very aware out there. It can be very dangerous if you don't. So,
if you just joined us, it's the Heartland Conference Track and Field Outdoor event from Franklin, Indiana. You might want to go through the format, Troy, that they get 3 attempts, and then they take the best 2 scores. Is that how they do that, or how do they do that?
Well, what will happen is they'll go through the 10, and if you have anybody in the first flight that would be a better number than those in the second flight, they'll get points for that. But right now it is really the second flight that scores the most points. And, you know, we were talking about earlier about the amount of young track and field participants that we have. You look at the roster of just the javelin itself, we're talking about 3, 6, 7 freshmen that are throwing here today just in the javelin itself. There's a lot of really, really good young talent here today.
Outstanding.
Aaliyah is up.
Now, that was Jones, who we saw throw the first time. She was at 37.15, and I just heard her say she tried something a little bit different. She was not happy with that throw. I have a feeling she'll go back to what she did before.
I think I just heard 32.22.
And you're talking about 5 meters off the other throw, so I think it's not bad to experiment on that second throw, but she'll go back to what she did best.
Now, we got to be transparent. We did this early this morning at like 7:30, and we didn't do very well.
Well, you didn't, but I threw like a 42 meters on this one. So, but you were like 41.
Well, and then to be honest with you, Kurt was like 18.
That's because you were throwing things at Kurt while he was trying to throw.
I thought that was the name of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanted to return a javelin throw, right?
Yes.
Jill is up.
Pretty impressive right there.
Well, she is. And, you know, that's a freshman right there. And if you watched her from the beginning, the concentration, the follow-through, I mean, everything was, I wouldn't say perfect, but it's probably the kind of throw that's going to win you this event.
We want to thank Matthews getting some of these shots, and Chuck's doing some great shots as well. Nice job, guys. Cameron doing a good job. As I think we got a little bit of break here. Okay, I'm going to go try to talk to the judge here. All he can do is tell me no. The man with the flags. Okay, what's the red flag stand for?
The red flag means it's a flat throw, and a flat throw is a foul. Meaning the tip has
Wait a minute. Every single time I throw, I get a red flag.
Not every single time.
Okay.
No, you get a white flag or a red flag. White flag indicates that the tip has hit first and it is a fair throw. If it is a red flag, the tip has not hit first and it's a foul throw.
So you have to have contact in the ground.
Well, yes, you obviously have contact with the ground, but the tip has to hit first for it to be a legal throw.
Okay. How fun is that to see the red-white flag? It's a great event today, too.
I don't know if there's any fun to it, the part of the job, so to speak, but it's to give the athletes a true representation of their effort.
Thank you very much for explaining. I think we're going to go right back to the tent.
Thank you very much, Keith Myers, and of course as well Troy Darengowski for providing some more commentary as we move through the women's javelin throw, which has just concluded. Jill Wilhelm getting the unofficial win with a best throw of 37 meters 73 from Mount St. Joe. Some big points for them as well. Also coming in second, as according to my unofficial stat sheet, Aaliyah Jones of Rose-Hulman with a best throw of 37.15. And then third place would be Madeline Hundahl from Mount St. Joe. So the Mount St. Joe throwers really getting a big performance out of their throwers here today in the women's javelin throw. Now we move on to the men getting ready to go here in just a matter of moments. The men's javelin throw coming up right here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on IndianaSRN. Keith Myers, what have you got for us, my friend?
Well, I'm heading to Stacy Ledoux, and we're going to talk with her this morning as Assistant Commissioner of the Heartland Conference, as she has all the trophies laid out. And Stacy, a better day today than it was yesterday.
Well, the sun's shining. It's going to be a great day. We're going to hand out some championship trophies. It's going to be awesome.
Talk a little bit about the field events. Some yesterday, the finals today, and then the running events starting about 12:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, we've got to get out here early. Franklin's got a little unique layout, but it makes for a good atmosphere. But a lot of their throws events are where we need to be for running. So we're out here bright and early, getting javelin out of the way so we don't hurt anybody later in the day, but getting some field events out of the way this morning, and then it's going to warm up and we're going to run some fast times this afternoon.
And then the finals are today, then baseball, softball coming up. The season's almost ending. Jay's doing a couple of things today as well. Golf is finishing this weekend. A good year all in all on the relationship with the Heartland Conference and with IndianaSRN. It's been a very, very good year, busy year for us.
Yeah, championship season's what we live for. We get out of the office, we see our people. It's always great. This weekend's a busy one for us. We've got 4 championships all taking place this weekend. I was at Hanover yesterday for men's lacrosse. Jay and Isaiah are down in Nicholasville, Kentucky today for men's tennis. And then women's golf will wrap up tomorrow in Defiance, Ohio. So busy weekend, but we wouldn't have it any other way.
And next week is lacrosse weekend for the women's.
That's correct. We've got a good match today as well that will determine the number 1 and number 2 seeds for that championship tournament next week. And they actually play their semifinal on Wednesday. So another busy week, but again.
And you can find that championship game on
HCAC.tv.
Very good. There's your $10. Back to you, Troy.
Thank you very much, Keith Myers. Getting back to the javelin throw for the women, just a few more insights as far as that performance from Jill Wilhelm. Again, only a freshman from Mount St. Joseph. That is her second best performance of the season so far. Her best performance coming back at the MSJ April Invitational, where she won that event with a best throw of 39.61 meters. So that gives her her first conference championship in the outdoor variety here at the HCAC. Of course, a little bit more insight on Wilhelm as well for the indoor season. Of course, she can't throw a javelin inside. She actually competes in the weight throw as well as the shot put and the pole vault. She finished third in the pole vault at the HCAC Indoor Track and Field Championships, as well as in the weight throw. She was fifth there at that meet back in February. We're now moving on to the men's. We'll have color commentary from Troy Darengowski and Keith Myers in just a matter of moments. Stick with us right here on IndianaSRN at HCAC.tv. No, that was actually a good idea. So this is still women's here. They doing a third flight? Oh, they're doing another flight.
I better change that back.
Well, Troy, we're back at finals here with the women.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because we saw some really good throws moments ago in the second flight, and so now they've taken the best of the best, and here we go. And this is going to be interesting to see because I'll tell you what, we've seen some of these athletes really excel in their second and third throws, so they've had a chance to really get a good feel for what they're doing out here right now.
I'll tell you what, the form, all of them all have different forms, and you just want to make sure you launch that thing. The wind is no factor here for these.
No, not really at this stage, because I think everything is kind of behind them or to their left, as we talked about it earlier. So what you're seeing right now is they may make some adjustments. The bottom line is, as they say in most sports, do what got you here. Don't change anything at this stage. Have the good form, concentration, and then follow through.
Looks like we have two Rose Hallmans of Franklin and Hanover participants in this thing. The length of the field, there is an inbounds and an out of bounds. You've got to stay inbounds. I don't know if our camera can pick it up, but there are two lines out on the field. That's very important to stay in those.
Oh yeah. Bottom line is you go out, you're done there. So, and again, you measure off. It's like jumps. You're going to measure yourself off where you want to start, but keep an eye. Don't scratch. Now, she was a little bit behind the line, but you'd rather be behind than, of course, scratching because you don't want to foul. But, you think about it. Footwork, the throw, the concentration, and that footwork comes down, makes you don't step over that line. So there's a lot coming into it.
You sound like a basketball coach.
Well, you know what? And I know I joke about it in the indoor. I used to do a little triple jumping in my day, and there's a lot more than just running out and jumping. And there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I usually give that up. Here we go.
Now, did you notice how much shorter her approach was than some of the others? Because I think her upper body strength might be a little bit better. She really doesn't need to get that much of a run and throw, so that was a little bit of a different technique there.
And you can tell these athletes are true loving this sport because when they get disgusted, they're really disgusted with themselves because they want to perform the best they can. This is Hanover up here.
Well, and they do, because now we're talking about points. And at the end of the day, it's the amount of points that you get. Really good throw.
That's a good throw, too, because it hit and then rolled on.
That thing that's changed a lot since you and I were kids.
There's a tape measure. There's no tape measure out there.
Tape measures on this where they have to get down there and look at it. It's all done electronically. So it's kind of fun to see what the times are, and they get them immediately, too.
And I tell you what, the athletic staff here at Franklin has done a nice job with this event. And I tell you what, the officials have been very, very kind to us both days here, and we'll have insight with them a lot today as well.
Well, I think that they're afraid that you're going to come up to them and get them on the spot, and I would be nice to you too if I knew you were coming back to get an interview. So,
well, they know the mic is live, so that's be careful.
Yeah, I've noticed more people run away from you than wait around for you, so that's kind of a sign.
Story of my life. Hello to Jay Jones, who's watching tonight, today. I do believe he's down on assignment today.
Well, and you know what? You think about Jay and Stacy and their entire staff and all the stuff that they do, and this is a busy time of year because you're thinking every weekend now until the end, it's go, 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 and all the work in between. So they put in a ton of hours, and really we're grateful for what they do. You notice Jill Wilhelm right there. We all look at it and go, hey, that was a pretty decent throw. But you could tell she was short of the mark up front. And then you could kind of, when she stopped, she kind of went, her body language went down a little bit because she felt she could have done better on that throw.
Transy athlete up. Out of bounds.
Yeah, a foul there. Everything's got to, again, be in between the lines. I watched her face when she first started because you know the competitors right before her, as Maddie's ready to throw, you know what you got to do. And sometimes you put a little more into it thinking you got to get that extra in order to get the throw.
You think Maddie may be a favorite here?
Well, she's got a cheering section for sure. You're going to have to be 36, 37 plus in meters to win this thing because we've seen so many strong throws. So you're really going to have to focus here and get the mark down. Well, you know, that's not a bad throw, but again, you're looking at a throw that wasn't quite at that 36, 37 mark. You could tell she wasn't happy with that throw. And if you saw the way she threw with almost like you throw a fastball, or because she split her fingers over the back of that grip, and a lot of them will grip full hand. So I guess it's different technique, but you can almost tell it's kind of like throwing that pitch, and you know it wasn't the pitch you wanted. When you release it, it wasn't what she wanted.
Wow. I think the Franklin coach is pretty happy with that throw.
I would be too. That was almost picture perfect. See, she was 37.29, I believe that was. A perfect throw right there. Everything she had from the distance, the run, the stop, and the throw was just about as good as you're going to get. Yeah, not bad. Probably a little bit short of the 37 mark we just saw moments ago. I find it interesting to watch where they start, and because again you mark it off, you want it to be at a certain area, and then your footwork has to be correct all the way to that line. And I just think it's interesting who starts close and who starts back. And look at the back on this one. I mean, she's way back there.
This is Jessica.
It's good. I'm not sure, watching her the last time she threw, I don't think she went that deep.
No, she was short last time. Yeah.
This time she changed up knowing she needed to get distance, and it seemed like everything worked out well.
She almost fouled there. She saved herself a little bit.
But you could tell from the release, you could hear almost on the javelin, you hear that little jingle in there. Yeah, so that kind of meant that something didn't really go well on the release there, and that's why she ended up going short and, again, almost fouling. You notice her grip right here. She has one finger back. So hers was completely different. Really good throw, but hers was completely different. Her finger completely back instead of using, like as we mentioned, a fastball with a two-finger split or the closed hand.
And if you're just joining us, we are at Franklin College at the HCAC Track and Field Outdoor Championships right here on HCAC.tv and IndianaSRN. The spin and the rotation there was different than I've seen on anybody else throw today.
Well, she is so strong. You know, what's funny about her is she's just a freshman, and she was a closed hand throw. I think she just said a 37.38, so that was, I mean, she's used to doing 37, so that's nothing big right there. But yeah, do you notice her concentration? There wasn't anybody in the world except her right there on that throw.
You got to hand it to these people, these girls and the guys out here. I mean, they started at 7:30 this morning, warming up and everything, and Manchester has they have a huge crowd on hand.
Well, you mentioned again they went through yesterday, and coming over to support their other teammates, and as you see the throw here, not quite what she wanted. But the thing is, yeah, you're up here early in the morning. We pulled in here before 8 o'clock. Some of the teams were already here. Some were right behind us. And it's a long day. We talked about this in the indoor. I mean, you're coming here. You've got to get yourself mentally ready. And yet your event may not happen until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So
good point. Everyone's looking at the radar as well. They are trying to get all this in before the weather comes.
You know, they kind of know if you watch the athletes, and I watch their face when they're done, and a lot of times they know. They're like, well, that wasn't a throw that's going to get me into the top 5, and they just kind of walk away, which is understandable. You're disappointed, but, you know, you're in the finals now, really going to have to step it up. You know, the key, when you think about, it's like jumping. In a long jump or a triple jump especially, you need distance and height at the same time. And if you don't get the perfect combination of the two, you don't have a very good throw. Probably pretty good, decent distance. Probably not at the 36, 37 range. Got a little bit high on that one. I think if she had to come back again, she wants a little more.
Chuck, does that thing say how high
a flat
you are?
throw.
Doesn't give you any. Okay.
Did you say at some point it's going to warm up today? Is that going to be like anytime soon?
I'll work on that.
Don't make fun of my beanie hat.
I'll turn on. You know, our producer has his beanie hat on, gloves, long underwear, and 4 coats, and he's still got the heater on. And it's like 70 degrees in the tent where you guys are going to be. I'm out here in the elements. Now you know.
I'm out here with you, man. I know the feeling.
I was looking for the popcorn stand. I can't find the popcorn. I heard it was going to be here.
Well, you know where it is, over at the baseball field. So you got to go over there and get some.
I got to get a scooter.
They're playing a doubleheader today, so you can run on over there.
I'll go see my friend Lance.
Yeah, there you go.
Test.
Yeah, that's a good throw. You know what's funny about this is we talk about, you know, you're gaining points and you want to get as many athletes in that final as you possibly can, because it really doesn't matter if you win it, but if you have like 3 or 4, then you're in really good shape. So we're down to that right now.
Points are the key.
Yep.
$38.35.
That wind's coming up.
Yep.
Still testing.
heading to the car for a few minutes, get my coat.
I was listening to the coach from Mount St. Joe on that throw, and what was interesting is he was really, really telling her, listen, you got to stick this throw, and she did, by the way. Good concentration, good form, and boy, just a freshman. You're going to have her for the next 3 years.
As we'll head to the tent here, the men will be with us in just a couple minutes. And I do believe we have Kurt there. Hey, Kurt, how are you?
Hanging in there, guys. Good job on that color commentary throughout that competition. That was a heck of a throw at the end there by Jill Wilhelm, 38.95. That was just beating out her teammate Madeline Hundahl, who had just uncorked a 38.35. So that was a 1-2 competition right there between Mount St. Joe throwers right there. Jill Wilhelm getting the win right there, though. 38.95 on that one, and Madeline Hundahl getting there as well. So still, we now have the men's competition on javelin getting set to go here in just a matter of moments, and guys, that'll certainly be one to watch here as we'll ramp up the distance a little bit as well. Again, first flight going up, and then second flight, then the best of both flights will then compete in a final to duke it out for the conference championship in that competition right there. So stick around, more action coming up right here on the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on the IndianaSRN and HCAC.tv. Yep. Just did a brief little recap.
Static. I just cut your mic for a minute. Chuck, pan out. Just give me a wide shot of the whole deal over. And yeah. Yeah, you push in a little bit. That's good right there. Just kind of give them the flavor.
This is from Tom. Just talking about there's apparently going to be really high winds later.
Once again, you're looking live at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on IndianaSRN and the HCAC.TV. Alongside Troy Darengowski and Keith Myers, I'm Kurt Darling, just setting the stage once again here for you as we move through the 10 o'clock hour here of these championships here at Franklin College. And so far, we've only gone through the women's javelin throw, which was a big win by Jill Wilhelm, getting her second win of the season, coming off a big win at the MSJ April Invitational just a couple of weeks ago. She has a winning throw of 38.95 meters, just beating out her teammate who had just in front of her uncorked a big throw of 38.35. That is Madeline Hundal. She takes second place. And then coming in third with a big throw as well, that would be Jessica Beckman. That would be of Hanover, getting a big throw as well of 37.32. Of course, that is my unofficial stat sheet. If you want to get official stats, you can check those out at hcac.com and anywhere else you can find timing and scoring. We're moving on to the men's javelin throw now at the moment, as we keep moving through the warm-ups of the men's javelin throw. Later on today, we'll get through the running competition. That will be at about 12:30. And now we head over to the podium, where we have the women's javelin throw being announced right now here at Franklin College. There you see the winners. So there are your official winners. Jessica Beckman of Hanover in third place, Madeline Hundal, and then Jill Wilhelm, the winner from Mount St. Joe. Just shy of her personal best this season, 39.61 meters. Again, that was back at the MSJ Invitational just a couple of weeks ago, but still, her throw of 38.95 enough to get her the conference championship and some meaningful points today for Mount St. Joseph in the women's competition. They are in fourth place right now, as we'll have Keith Myers getting a chat with Jill Wilhelm here in just a matter of moments.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Congratulations. Job well done.
Thank you.
So tell me, what was successful throw? Was it what I taught you earlier yesterday that helped you through today?
Yeah, it was actually. I think just the good weather and having great teammates around me really helped.
Talk a little bit about the weather, because yesterday was brutal. Today you're wearing short sleeves and you're doing a lot better. It makes a big difference.
It does. Yesterday I kind of had a bad day. It was rough with the weather, so today I just came ready to attack, and hopefully, I'll keep the streak going.
Well, congratulations. Job well done. We're right back up to you guys.
Thank you very much, Keith Myers. The men's javelin throw, as you can see, going through warm-ups right now. They will be getting it going here with the first flight. That'll include throwers such as Austin Womack of Mount St. Joe. He had a best season. He's only a sophomore. He had a best throw this season at 36.11, so that'll be a big one to watch, as well as Carter Ritchie of Bluffton, the junior. He has a best mark of 36.40. Coming up in the second flight, though, later on, you'll have some of the other big performers. The freshman from Hanover, Gavin Followell, 44.63 on the year, but then you're going to be watching a lot of Alex Galanti of Hanover, the other teammate from Hanover, only a junior. He has a best throw this season of 36.82. So they continue going through warm-ups, getting set for the men's javelin throw running competition. Going to get going later this afternoon at about 12:30 p.m. with the women's 4x100 meter relay, and the men will follow after that. We're trying to beat the rain here at Franklin College. Stick with us right here on IndianaSRN for live coverage of the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships.
Welcome back to the Heartland Conference Track and Field. Keith Myers along Troy Darengowski as we start men's javelin. Well, Troy, right away from the women's, you hear the grunts.
I love it. That's what, when you throw these the javelins or shot and all that, it's part of the game, right?
That's what, like you did at breakfast today, is I
was getting a little hungry, so you're going to kind of tell when I get grumpy that the sounds will come out.
There are two flights of this event. We will also be covering the long jump, the shot put, I do believe, and a couple other events, so we'll keep you posted of all the things that is going on. Again, the tip must hit the ground first, and then it can lay in flat, but it has to hit first to make it a good throw.
Freshman. We get a lot of information right here next to the the throwers. And so far, the first couple of throws haven't been as good as they would hope. But again, Andrew Cowland, just a freshman from Rose-Hulman. The first flight generally is not going to be as good as the championship flight, but anytime you get a throw here that can get you into the championship flight, it'll be the top 9.
And how electronics have changed the game of track and field with technology, the high technology that we have is incredible. All the tech stuff that is out here. I mean, our producer knows all the tech stuff. We just turn on the microphone and it works, but it takes a lot of coordination to get this all done.
Oh, it does, and they've been here really early to get this whole thing set up. But I'm like you. It's amazing how you can do this digitally now, where many years ago it was stretch out the tape, but they got a foul on that one on Austin Womack. But it takes so much effort to put all this together. It's really, really fun to watch. You're probably thinking at this age you need to get a 36 or higher to get into the top 9. And right now some of the throws we're seeing are anywhere from 31, 32 range, and they're going to be a ways behind there.
There's some big guys out here doing this. The shoes, I commented on the shoes. This guy has a pair of $170 shoes on. Pretty impressive.
Well, this is going to be fun to hear this one, because Kobe Martindale out of Manchester had a really good throw. He had a 35.79 earlier. That's a good throw.
38.79. That's 37 more than me.
Well, not when you get warmed up, though. I've seen you throw.
Okay, great. No throw.
Well, and he knew it when he threw it. You can hear it. When you're down here within 15 feet of these competitors, they know, again, from the very time that leaves their hand, it's kind of like a shot in basketball. You know whether it's going to have a chance or not, and he knew that time it didn't.
Okay, this guy has a great handlebar mustache. I talked to him. He said he worked on it all day yesterday. Nice throw for him.
It took him all day to do that?
A little bit of wax. 32.3. Now they get 3 attempts, correct?
Yes. And again, take the best of your 3 and see if it qualifies you to get into the top 9. Out of bounds, foul. Now, he didn't have a good earlier session either. In fact, he or Senmeyer, the next one, did not have throws in their first round because they fouled each time. So it's important here now, even if you don't have a good throw, at least get some distance here. Well, and other than Martindale right now at the 38, and even the 38 is going to be really, really difficult because that next flight, we're talking about guys that are in the 46, 44, 43 range, so the 38 still may not be enough. Carter had a 27.61 his first throw.
.36. So he batted it by 10 meters.
Yeah, almost 10 meters on that throw. Yeah, that was. I think once you get that first one out of your system, and then you kind of get a feel for the run and everything, things will get better in your throws. Well, he went. Gavin Marate out of Defiance ended up got a scratch on the first one, a flat on that one. So unless he has something really magical in number 3, he probably won't advance.
Brayton is up. Ben on deck. Austin on hold. Brayton, you're up. Ben is up. Austin on deck. Cliverson on hold.
27.06 for Blackwell.
Yeah, Blackwell. It was about 4 meters, a little over 4 meters short of his first throw. You could kind of tell, again, he was not happy with that delivery at all. Well, Ben Parsons last time at 27.44.
You know, this would be interesting if we had water and there was like fish and they could stab the fish. That would that be...
So you'd like kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get a
well, now that I'm on a fish diet, I would think that would be a good thing to do. Well, by the way, that's comedy's free. It's the HCAC track and field event, Franklin, Indiana. Oh, that's a nice throw.
Yeah, he was at 36.11 earlier, but he fouled in his last one, so he probably has to feel pretty good about that throw. I don't think it's going to be enough to get him, though, into the finals. Yeah, 34.96, still going to be short. Again, you've got to be thinking right now 40 plus, 39, 40 plus.
We're going to stop for the national anthem. Baseball also here at Franklin today, doubleheader for the Grizzlies. A lot of things going on with the conference today.
Boy, no kidding. In the next several weeks, there's going to be a lot of things going on, and we talked about it earlier, how the staff and everybody involved in the HCAC are going to be putting in some overtime hours for sure.
And if you want to catch those championships, you can catch those on HCAC.tv or IndianaSRN. We'll have that whole entire schedule on our website on Monday. It's IndianaSRN.org. And take a look at that as we're getting ready to gear up for baseball, lacrosse, softball, and all kinds of events. It's been a great year, great partnership with us in the Heartland Conference.
This is Martindale. He's really close to scratching there. What you probably saw, and he's going to get credit for the throws, he was off balance there at the very end, and it cost him a good throw.
I like the attire, Coach. Looks good. Got the hat, got the coat.
I gotta stay drippy, you know.
I think Coach is ready for the inclement weather that may be coming in later on today. Coach from Manchester, how you doing?
Doing pretty well.
How was yesterday? A little windy, huh?
Yeah, it was a little bit windy, a little bit chilly, so that's why I brought my coat out just in case. So.
Okay, tell everybody at home how you're doing and what's your name so we can give you good props.
I'm doing pretty well. Andre White is my name, so yep. Been coaching here for a couple years now.
Manchester looking pretty good for this event?
Yeah, we have a few people. Kobe just had a huge PR so far, and then I have 3 others in the next fight. So hoping that they can pop off as well and do well.
So when it starts raining, I'll come look for you for my jacket.
Yep, I got you.
All right, thanks.
No problem.
Troy, back to you.
We just saw a little bit ago Damewood out of Mount St. Joe threw a 33.06, better than his first throw. That's a good throw there by Nick Stroud. He had fouled on the last one. He really needed that one.
39.46.
Yeah, see Stroud's throw at 39.46. That's the range you want to be in right now. Getting a good look here at Landon Senmeyer. Landon only had a 24.35 in his last throw.
Good question. Is the men's javelin heavier, or is it the same for men and women? The weight of the javelin?
Yes, it's the same. Yeah.
Same weight. Okay. Yep.
I love that. Don't you just love that?
Did he yell, "I want a McDonald's," or what was that?
I think it was, you get that look. See, he went from 27 to 37.36 to 37.91. And so he went up every stage. 37.91 is probably not going to get you there, but listen, that young man right there is just a junior. He'll be back next year. Put on a little more strength. He'll be okay. But you just like the, all that stuff, right? Freshman Andrew Cowlin had a 32.21 in his first throws. He had flattened out on the second one.
30.38.
By the way, he's just a freshman as well. And we talked about how many freshmen we have seen in the indoor. And, of course, we didn't get a chance to see javelin and such. But think about how many more freshmen are involved in the outdoor. There's a lot of really good young athletes.
The other thing that we must do before we get off the air, I know we got a long way to go, but congratulations to Transylvania's women's team for winning a national championship, basketball championship. Job well done. It was great to cover them all year long. Man, how exciting was that back in Transylvania.
Well, you know, anytime that you can get a national exposure like that for the HCAC, it's always good. I was hoping we'd be able to go cover them there and do the championship, but
You didn't go? You missed the bus?
I missed the bus. Yeah, I didn't get the invitation.
I forgot to. I'm sorry. I left it in the car.
Why am I not surprised you left mine in the car?
As we have a countdown clock going on, if someone could tell me what that countdown clock is for, I would appreciate that.
It's counting up. I think that's the time. Yes, that's the time of day.
Okay. All right. Hey, not bad for my education for UCLA University.
I'm going to give you credit because I'm sure the student athlete that's standing in front of it is in front of the second clock. You couldn't see the seconds, so you thought it was going down, which I give you credit for that.
Thanks for saving me, Troy.
Cliverson Smith, just a freshman. You watched him. In fact, they're going to say he fouled on that one, so he doesn't even get credit for the throw. But you saw him double clutch there. He started to go. He thought about it. I think sometimes you just need to go with that first instinct and make your first throw and not stop. There we go. This is Martindale.
Much better throw, much more balance, and he got it flat. That's his last throw.
Yeah, his best was at 38.79 in his first. He's probably not enough to get him. Of course, we'll have to go through the second heat here, but probably not enough to get him in the finals. You know, I thought maybe Erickson, the junior out of Franklin, I couldn't tell if it was you or him because of the hair, you know, because your hair's like that when you don't tuck it underneath your hat. But he fouled on that one, so that's a tough way to end. So Jasper got a decent throw, but again, probably not the distance he needed.
32.98 for the throw, as we have two throwers left.
Well, in Stroud right here from Hanover had a 39.46, so he's right there. If he can get a really good throw here, it's going to put him in line to perhaps get in that top 9. Not bad. I'm not sure.
That might. Oh, we got a foul. Oh.
I would have loved to have seen the distance on that. I don't know if it would have gotten him to 39, but it would have been really close. But, boy, that's a really tough way to end that one.
And our last thrower from Defiance.
Yeah, Landon Sinmeyer, just a freshman. So he's competing against a lot of upperclassmen. But, you know, this is kind of a learning experience for you at this stage. His best throw so far in the 24s, 24.84. So right now he's just kind of trying to learn the javelin a little bit better here. And it's good to be in the championships, kind of know what you need to do.
And that's done with flight 1. We'll take a few minutes away. We'll bring you flight 2. Be ready in about 10 minutes. You're listening and watching HCAC.TV.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
We're moving right along here through these HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on HCAC.TV and IndianaSRN alongside Troy Derengowski and Keith Myers on the color commentary on the field. I'm Kurt Darling holding down the fort here at the start-finish line here at Franklin College. We're moving through the men's javelin throw at the moment, as you can see on your screen. Also getting underway this hour is the men's long jump, and that will be followed by the women's long jump as well. So we're moving through many field events here as we get closer to getting started with competition on the track later today at around 12:30. Of course, we're also trying to beat the weather here today. There's some high winds as well as some thunderstorms in the forecast for later on this afternoon, right around the time when the meet is supposed to be coming to a swift and hopefully successful conclusion here at Franklin College. Again, going through the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. We're working through the men's javelin right now. Flight 2 coming up from that, and then we will have the finals coming up, as well as some intermittent coverage of long jump and a few other field events keeping going as well on the schedule. Stick with us. You got live coverage right here on HCAC.TV.
Jerry, we have the trainer, Franklin, here with us, and talk a little bit about the preparation as the trainers the week before this event. Tell us a little bit about what you do with your athletes.
Yeah, so we really emphasize proper rest, nutrition, hydration, all the things that mentally can help prepare an athlete, but a lot of those practices translate into physical health as well. So
like a diet of 4 burrito supremes, a taco, and a nachos would not be a good thing before the event?
I wouldn't recommend it personally, but just trying to educate and prevent through.
So talk a little bit about how many people staff-wise you have and your responsibility during the meet. I know that if someone gets hurt, you're right there, but what's your job duty, so to speak?
Yeah, so I have another certified who's on staff here with me, and then I have some athletic training students that help out. So we try not to be needed because that means people are healthy, but we have walkie-talkies to communicate and yeah, just really try and enjoy the day and watch some good athletics go on.
And it's a better day than it was yesterday. I know we're all watching the radar. I know you guys are watching the radar as well. Looks like the rain's not going to come in until later on this afternoon, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on it. And it's spring in Indiana, so anything could pop up. But yeah, we're hoping for better weather. It's warmer today at least. So.
You got anybody you want to say hi to?
My husband's birthday is today, so happy.
I'm sure he's really happy that you're out here.
Yeah, so happy 28th birthday, Brendan.
All right, back up to you guys. We will be switching to long jump, so you'll be looking at that. We'll also interrupt occasionally to give you some results of the javelin, but we'll go and look at some long jumps. You're watching HCAC.TV. Before we go to long jump real quick, Maddie is with us. And Maddie, you're a javelin thrower. How did things go today?
They went pretty good. I got 9th, and so for the first year doing it, it was pretty successful.
The knee band looks like you got your maybe have an injury there. What happened?
I hurt my knee in basketball, and it just kind of carried over, so the block step is still getting used to it.
Manchester College, things went there. We went there for the women's championship. Basketball team was pretty good. Girls basketball team's pretty good. How's the baseball, softball teams?
Softball is doing pretty good. They swept a couple teams the past week, and baseball is starting to pick up the pace.
I noticed the shoe has Batman, the Joker, and I see Troy's little things there, too. That's pretty nice. When did you get Troy's little decal?
I have no clue.
Nice. We're going to go to the lunch. Good interview. She didn't want to – I ran her down, but I could catch her because she has a knee injury.
I was going to say the really good news is when we need expert analysis, she's right next to you, okay? So don't be afraid to go down there.
All right. We're going to go to the long jump.
Once again, it's about 11:30 here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here at Franklin College here on IndianaSRN and HCAC.TV alongside Troy Derengowski and Keith Myers on the sidelines. I'm Kurt Darling holding down the fort here at the start-finish line, and right now you are watching the men's javelin throw, the final flight to decide who will become the conference champion here in this event. Troy Derengowski and Keith Myers will have the commentary for you here in a matter of moments. Meanwhile, enjoy the competition. We're about an hour away from starting track activity to decide day 2 here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships.
Okay, Chuck, I see you turned it off. Turn it back on. See if it connects. It doesn't see it. Come on back. Sorry. Oh, wait a minute. It's got it. It's got it. Got We're switching to you. On 2.
We are back once again here at the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference Outdoor Championships. Right now we're in the finals of the javelin. We'll give you all the details here in a couple of moments. And we had I don't think it was a total controversy, but we had some issues on who was throwing when, so it kind of got backed up just a little bit.
You're alive, Troy.
And so, Keith just dropped that in my lap, too, by the way. So the top 9, but then it turned out to be the top 10. And there was some confusion on who would be where a little bit ago and who was going to be throwing. But I think we've got it straightened out here. As, again, we're in the finals, top 9, but now top 10 here in the finals of the javelin. Our best throw came back with, of course, you have to go back to the opening round. It was a 45-10 that was thrown by Chase Miles, the sophomore out of Franklin. In fact, we had some good throws. North at 44-9-1 and Gronkowitz at 42-5-5. The numbers have actually kind of dropped here in the final 9. So it's going to be very important here in the last throws that they have to get a really good distance here to get some points on the board. Just saw Parker Hammonds, the sophomore out of Anderson. We'll try to get to. Yeah, that's for 45-01 there for Hammonds. That's his best of the day in his second throw after a sector scratch a little bit ago. Cade Hill, just a freshman, also out of Anderson. A little too high on his throw there, so that one's going to be well short.
Alexander Manchester on deck. Alec Hanover on hold.
31.2.
He only got 31.26 on that last throw.
Gavin is up.
Gavin Followell on the throw as well. Good throw. Maybe not his best of the day at a 42.43 earlier.
Alex of Hanover on deck. Declan on hold.
37.6.
Yeah, only a 37.69 of the 5 throws that Followell's had today. That one is his lowest distance. Gronkowitz on the throw now, and probably a little bit high and very going to be close. That's going to be a sector foul there. So his second throw is a foul after opening at 42.55. Alex Galante had that 46.82 yesterday. And again, his best today, 42.59. Really good technique as well, and that should be a decent throw. I'm not sure it's going to be his best. You can kind of tell the way that he walked away from it. It wasn't a throw that he was certainly thrilled with. We'll see what. Yeah, 40.33. You can hear the judge just to my right, so he was even a little bit less. His 42.59 was the best, but so far 46.5 his first throw. And that's going to be a sector foul as well. But we have seen now 3 sector fouls here in the finals. And a couple of those have probably been distance-wise pretty they throws. But, boy, they say you got to keep it between the lines. And so important here in the finals, trying to get points. Cohen North, just a freshman, had the 6th leading throw yesterday. That's going to be a decent throw. We'll listen for his numbers here in just a couple of moments. And then when we're done, they'll tabulate, and then we'll 43.01. Good throw there again by Cohen North. In fact, he ended up going nearly 9 meters better than his last throw. Keep an eye right here. This is Chase Miles, the only left-hander in the competition. Good distance here. This is going to be very good to look at. Miles had a couple of 45s earlier. In fact, he has not gone under 40 yet.
Deck is up. Nick on deck. Parker on hold.
46.44.
46.44. So right now, Chase Miles with a 46.44. That's the best we've had today, just shy also of Alex Galante at 46.82 yesterday. That was an excellent throw. This is Tucker. Tucker a little short on this one. His best earlier, 38.96.
Parker on deck. Cade on hold.
37.53.
Yeah, not certainly the throw that Tucker was looking for.
Nick is up.
This is going to be a little bit short. And they call a foul on Stroud. Stroud was in that first group at 39.46. He picked up his second foul so far. So now we're down to the final throws here. Parker Hammonds, sophomore out of Anderson. He was 5th yesterday. Should be a good throw, but I don't think that's going to be enough to go past 46.44.
Gavin on deck. Alexander Manchester on hold.
We're going to see Cade Hill. 41.32 that time for Hammonds. So again with our final throws here is Cade Hill. Again, just a freshman. Hill had a 40 earlier. This will be way short. Kind of knew that one from the time it left his hand, that he was going to be short on that one. That is probably going to be in the less than 30 range, I would imagine, or in that area. So 35. So unfortunately for Hill, his numbers kind of went down. He was actually pretty good early at 40.27 and 39.32. This is follow well on the throw, and that's going to be a sector foul as well. So we've seen now 4 sector fouls here in this final. So here is Alex Gronkowitz. Had a 39.09 earlier and then had the foul moments ago, and he was cheering section just to my left. Nope, that's going to be short. And he also fouled on that one. So after a strong start there for Gronkowitz, a couple of fouls here. In fact, it only qualified on 1 of 3 throws here in the finals. Now keep an eye right here. This is Galante. See if he can match what he did yesterday. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit short, too. Boy, and he did get a foul, so another foul on this one on the release. So for Galante after yesterday at 46.82, his best today at 42.59. Here is Declan Brophy. Brophy is good enough for 4th yesterday to qualify. Always has a short approach, and he did get it just inside the line. Brophy had a 43.16 on his 3rd. Don't think he's going to get quite there Yeah, 40.85. Looked like he was a little bit short. So now we're coming down to the last couple of throws here in the 2023 finals of the javelin. We saw Jill Wilhelm of Mount St. Joe win the championship on the women's side. Good look here at Cohen North, just a freshman. He's got a decent throw here. That's probably going to be in the 42, 43 range. We'll wait and see what the official will say. Yep, 45. There you go. Good throw there by Hill. 45-32. That is the best throw other than the Miles throw at 46.44 here in the finals. And speaking of Chase Miles, again, he's the only left-hander in this competition, but he's been so consistent here today. That's going to be really close to that 45, 46 mark, I'm sure. 43.29. So he was at 45 and no less than 43.29 the entire day. So now we will wait for the final scores, and we'll let you know here in a few moments how things turn out.
Thank you very much, Troy Darengowski, for the play-by-play on the men's javelin competition. And so that'll bring that to a conclusion. And if things hold up right now, Chase Miles with his best throw, 46.44 on the day, would put him as the winner of that competition. We'll get the final results to you in just a matter of moments. Of course, Cade Hill with that final throw right there, 45.32, puts him second place. And then Parker Hammonds of Anderson, the sophomore, only had a season best of 43.51 coming into the competition. He throws a 45.01 for the third best at the moment in that. So the time is just about shy of noon here at Franklin College. And we will be getting set for some on-track activity here in about a half hour or so, beginning with the women's 4x400 meter relay, then the men after that. Then we'll get into singles competition with the men's 1,500, then the women's 1,500 meters at about 1 o'clock. Of course, with all that, a little update on the forecast as well. Any rain in the area, the closest that we've seen so far is just south of Evansville and is moving to about the east-northeast trajectory. So any rain right now in the area is well south. So far so good as far as the forecast is concerned. We may be able to get everything in with everybody staying mostly dry here throughout the rest of the day. Other events taking place right now, we have the men's long jump that has nearly concluded. The women coming up here in a matter of moments as well. You got the women's high jump going on with the men to follow. And so there you see it.
He's off. I mean, he's still.
So there's a great view trackside here at Franklin College. So in the meantime, keep it right here on HCAC.TV and IndianaSRN. We'll keep you updated as the field events keep progressing. We're about a half hour away to start on-track activity right here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Once again, we welcome you back to Franklin College here on IndianaSRN. Live coverage of the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. And now we'll bring you the awards in a matter of moments here of the men's javelin. That just concluded about a couple of minutes ago, moving right through field events. So just to give you a little bit of a recap here of what has taken place so far here today at Franklin College and the day before on Friday. Yesterday it was a windy, rainy, and miserable day for these athletes getting prelims done. In fact, you didn't see a whole lot of really top times yesterday. It was just a matter of coming into the right position to get into the finals, which will be taking place later today on the track. Manchester University, the reigning 2022 HCAC men's and women's outdoor track and field champions. As we look back, Rose-Hulman looking to reestablish themselves as champions at the HCAC following their successful indoor track and field season after being named champions, both men's and women's respectively. That's after, in 2022, Manchester won both the men's and women's in the indoor variety when it was hosted up at Defiance. Of course, on day one, athletes throughout the HCAC were crowned champions while also seeing school records being broken. Allison Muck, in particular of Franklin College, broke Franklin's previous school record in the 100 hurdles with a second-place finish in the preliminary round. Of course, she now comes into the competition today, setting that mark of 15:43. Just yesterday in the women's 100 hurdles. We'll be seeing competition in that a little bit later on this afternoon. Meanwhile, talking about Hanover, Nina Drzuski claimed the title as champion of the pole vault for the second year in a row at a height of 2.96 meters. Meanwhile, Rose-Hulman's Colin Welsh won the championship in the men's pole vault at 375. Then talking about some of the distance races in just a little bit. But first, let's head over to the award stand where we get the awards for the men's javelin.
As we're waiting for the announcements. Yes. So we'll have an interview here with Jace as once they get all their pictures taken. Yes. You gotta love picture day. Yeah. All right. Well, come on down, gentlemen. I'll come to you. Come this way. We got to get you on camera. Mom wants to see you on camera. Okay. Hey, am I right? Here we go. All right, Mom, right there. See Mom right there? Just say hi.
Hi, Mom.
What was your throw?
46 meters.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yesterday went well, or was it too cold?
It went well. I didn't compete yesterday, but, I mean, the weather wasn't bad.
It's not too bad today, though, right? But a lot better than that wind blowing. It takes a big advantage of takes some time feet off of that throw, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So what year are you?
I'm a senior.
So what are you going to do after you get done with college and track?
My plan is to go to grad school at IUPUI and study kinesiology.
What in the world is kinesiology?
It puts me on track to become a strength coach one day.
Yeah, I do that. No. Congratulations, Chad. Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back up to you.
Thank you very much, Keith Myers. That's Chase Miles, the HCAC champion in the men's javelin. Running through other field events going on as well at the moment. Again, the women's high jump about to conclude, the men to follow. Also the women's long jump about to get going as we move through all the field events here in the morning session here of the day number 2 of the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. About to get going with the women's hammer throw, as you can see on your screen. And so picking up where we left off before the awards, a couple other storylines to keep in mind here as we go through this second day. Justin Drayling of Mount St. Joseph won the men's triple jump yesterday with a distance of 14.25 meters. Rafiat Ademi of Rose-Hulman took the women's triple jump title at 11.23 meters. That is Rafiat's second championship in the triple jump. She looks to repeat as long jump champion here today, as that competition about to get underway here in just a little bit. Hanover swept the discus throw yesterday as well, with Nick Stroud becoming the champion, tossing the disc 47.4 meters. Jesse Stringer had the second best throw at 43.62, and then Jessica Beckman on the women's side had a big one at 43.08 meters.
As we recap things, Kurt, we'd like to remind our fans that on Saturday, May the 6th, we will be covering the lacrosse championship game for the women's. Scheduled time is at 1 o'clock. That site will be determined later on today, as Franklin and Transy both play each other. Both are tied. The winner of that will get to host. So that should be very interesting. So our eyes will be on that. And then next Thursday, on May the 11th, 12th, and 13th, and 14th, the men and women baseball and softball championships right here on our network as well. So we're busy this month as we wrap the whole entire season up for this year.
Certainly a lot to look forward to here on Indiana SRN. Go to IndianaSRN.org to check out all of the other events that will be held both this end of this season, of course, coming up football season here in just a few months or so. That's right around the corner in about September time or so. So again, we're still looking to get competition going underway in just a little bit here in the women's hammer competition. And as we talked about earlier at the top of the broadcast, one big event that we're going to be looking forward to coming up here in the evening portion of this session will be the men's 5,000 meters. That'll feature one Enrique Salazar, who was a big winner in the 10,000 meters yesterday. Of course, he had a career best 29 minutes in the 10,000 meters. That was earlier this season, but he was about 2 minutes off that pace yesterday, both because of the weather and because of the strategy implications that you have along with this type of meet. Again, going for a team conference championship are these teams here today, so points matter more than individual performance. And just to recap the stats after day number 1 in the team scoring category, Hanover had 75 points on the women's side to lead after day number 1. Manchester just behind in second place at 68 points, and Rose-Hulman had in third with 48 points. And then on the men's side, Rose-Hulman, the big leaders. 82 points after Manchester's 57 points in second place, and then Hanover in third place. Of course, we expect those scores to really change and evolve as we go through day number 2 of competition here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championship. So we'll go ahead and leave the feed up for you, but stick around here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll get going with on-track activity here at Franklin College in the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. His land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Needing to hire someone to take care of your loved one when you're away? Maybe your family member just needs someone to talk to when you're not around. Why not contact Indiana licensed Serenity Care Services? Call Angela, owner of Serenity Care Services, at 317-900-6202. Our team of trained and experienced personal care providers are licensed to serve seniors requiring companion care and light housekeeping services in Indianapolis and its 5 surrounding counties. Call us today at 317-900-6202. Now hiring qualified applicants.
Welcome back to Franklin College here on IndianaSRN. With Troy Derengowski and Keith Myers, I'm Kurt Darling. Thank you so much for joining us here on a hazy but sunny day here on the south side of Indianapolis and central Johnson County. Troy Derengowski joins me now here. Troy, well, so far it's been kind of a slow start here today, of course, going through the field events and everything else. Things really about to pick up here right now. And so far, some good performances on the field event side so far.
Yeah, and we just came off the javelin, the men and the women, and kind of things went, I would imagine, when you look at the numbers from yesterday, went according to script here earlier today. What was interesting in the finals, and a lot of people may not know, it's generally the top 9 that have made it to the finals, but because of a little bit of a mix-up in the scoring from the final round into the championship round, they ended up going with 10 qualifiers. I'm glad they got it straightened out a little bit, because at one point one of the top qualifiers in the first 3 rounds was not included in the final 9, and so they got that straightened out just in time, but everything worked out there. And I know you had a chance to recap some of the winners in the javelin, and we'll hear pretty soon about the hammer throw going on. But like you said, you mentioned the things will pick up a little bit, and generally when you see the field events, that happens. Things are a little bit slower. A lot of good strategy and really from some very good throwers in the javelin a little bit ago. But once we get into the running now, then things will pick up even more.
That's when it certainly will pick up, and that's when you'll see the team scoring competition really start to evolve and change as that whole standing just shows up again. Hanover, the women on the women's side were the leaders at the end of day number 1, as were Rose-Hulman on the men's side for day number 2. So Rose-Hulman, again, obviously they're coming off of that indoor championship that they had earlier this season. You guys were there certainly for that. Just kind of recap some of the big performances that you remember from that indoor meet back in February.
Well, you already mentioned Salazar. I know he doesn't go to Rose-Hulman, but I was so impressed with him, maybe more than anybody, with the way that he was able to run indoors. And you mentioned his time a little bit on the outside. It's going to be different. Again, you're battling the wind, and the wind is picking up a little bit more today than it was yesterday. I'm sure at this time it got windy yesterday, but you can kind of feel things picking up now. That's going to be a difference. It's a difference whether you're running running one of the distance races or the sprints, depending on where the wind is coming from. So that'll be a difference. We'll keep an eye on that as it continues to go. But again, the wind has picked up quite a bit here now in this afternoon. And the indoor is so different. Again, the track's smaller, and we don't see a lot of the field events that are going on there. So the scoring's a little bit different from that standpoint. But you have more athletes now to deal with the field events. So you're right, Rose-Hulman. I mean, they've been so dominant for so long on the men's side. When Manchester picked up the win last year, and sure caught a few people by surprise. But I wouldn't anticipate, the way that Rose has gone off to a good start, that anything will change here in day 2.
Certainly some big performances to look forward to as well. Some individual performances certainly to keep an eye on as well. One in particular is going to be possibly from Anderson. You certainly have Michael Swigert, the sophomore, who scored a shot put in a hammer win as well. But then, you just move down the line here. One in particular that I'm looking for as well, Desmond Gist of Bluffton. He now he's huge in the sprints and the hurdles. He actually qualified for the 100-meter final here today, so he's actually the third, and he doesn't really really run a whole lot of 100 meters so far this season, in fact. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how you have some specialists who are good at other events but also happen to be good at others coming in here to try and score some points just based on how their coaches figure it out.
Yeah, and you mentioned that name right there. That's going to be big. There's going to be some sprinters here that you're going to see that are really going to put on a good show. We saw them in the 60-meter indoors, and they put us some really, really fast times. If they can get a good condition here this afternoon, I don't know if we'll see any records broken or anything like that, but I think what you're going to see is some really, really fast times here this afternoon.
Of course, they're going to be going into a headwind, though, as well here. That's the other thing you have to keep in mind, though. And so even though every record, if there are records set here today, they will be legal, that makes it even more impressive in the fact that you're throwing it into a headwind as well as a tailwind. Of course, if it was a tailwind, it probably wouldn't be legal based on how the wind's been blowing here today.
Yeah, and you make a good point. I mean, the area we are in, and I'm sure anybody who has seen it, there's a lot of open field, and you have very few trees, and the trees we do have are not blocking the wind because they're way over here to my right, and with them running the way they'll be toward west to east, it will be a pretty steady headwind, as you say.
It certainly will be. So again, getting set for the women's 4x100 meter relay that will kick off on track activity here this afternoon. In about 10 minutes is when that will be getting going. Then you will be having the 4x100 meter relay on the men's side. Then you'll be following that up with the women's 1500 meter followed by the men. And then we speed things up with the the women's 100 hurdles, and then the 110 high hurdles for the men. Then the 400 for the men and women at about 135 or so. And then you get around to about the 100 meters at 150 to 155, and then at 2 o'clock is when we're supposed to get going with the women's 800 meter run. But it's right around there, Troy, that was possibly forecasted the rain might get here, but as we're looking at the radar right now, it seems that things are going to be at least avoiding us for a little while longer.
And that is good news, because I think the one thing everybody thought at this stage, maybe 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and when you have some of those late events, plus if they're trying to get the award ceremony in, the good news is it won't be here by then. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
We certainly hope to see that as well. We'll go ahead and take another quick time out here. When we come back, we will have a little bit of a pause, and then we will bring back the commentary to get going with on-track activity right here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. So now you see on the far side of the track and field complex, we get set for the women's 200-meter dash here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on IndianaSRN. Alongside Troy Darengowski, I am Kurt Darling. Troy, we had a solid performance from Sarah O'Day as well as Lisa Maria Marcoux and Jada Stansberry earlier today, along with Zalia Martin. So now we have 4 big names to look at here at the women's 200 meters. But before we go any further, let's talk with Keith Myers.
Hi, Jim. Winner right here from Rose Holman. Look right there. Wave and say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Congratulations, job well done.
Yeah, thank you.
What was your height today?
I cleared 199 meters, which is about 6'5".
6'5"? Yeah. Wow, that's taller than my producer.
Yeah.
So you could jump over him.
Yeah.
You want to try now?
No, I might spike him in the face with my spikes.
With the face he's got, it'll be okay. No. Talk a little bit about the performance. Did the wind affect? Did anything affect that way?
It was pretty good. I was just focusing on myself on my run. It was just making sure my run was consistent, and I was able to, and it was good.
Now, a lot of you guys start way back. How far do you start back to get your approach?
I think I'm one of the furthest ones that start, or one of the ones who starts the furthest back. I think I started about maybe like 64 feet.
That's not bad. Yeah. Congratulations, job well done. Everybody wants to take your picture. Yeah. What year are you this year?
I'm a junior.
Wow, they're young. Rose Holman's young. This whole entire conference is really young.
Yeah.
Back up to you guys.
That's Kyle Brownwell there with Keith Myers, the winner of the high jump there for Rose Holman. So now we're about a minute away from the start of the women's 200-meter dash. So again, we had Sarah O'Day as well as Lisa Maria Marcoux, but Jada Stansberry, a 200 and 400-meter specialist as a freshman here for Anderson.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch. You mentioned the big names. They're going to be right in the middle of the pack here. This might be too close to call, but it's going to be fun. I love these when you have so much talent right there at 1 through 4. But as we've said time and time again, really anything can happen the wind has died down, depending on where you're at on the track as well. It's gotten a little warmer. We've gone back and forth from either getting cool or to getting pretty warm, and the sun is out, and we'll see if that'll be a factor as well.
So there we got eyes on the start of the women's 200-meter dash. Sarah O'Day, the top time this season at 25:35 coming into this one, the sophomore.
Well, we talk about youth, as Keith did a couple of moments ago, and these two will battle it out for the next couple of years as well. But Jada Stansberry, how strong she was in her last performance, just again, incredible, but O'Day will be right there.
And it's a clean start. There you see Jada Stansberry as well as Sarah O'Day. Lisa Marie Marcoux and Zalia Martin all right there coming into the stretch. And again, Sarah O'Day has a little bit of an edge. Getting a little bit of a push there from Lisa Maria Marcoux, but Stansberry and O'Day at the line. It is awfully close here. We'll check the timing and scoring to see who came away with the victory here. And it is O'Day barely inching out Jada Stansberry by, again, 0.02 of a second. 25:54 her winning time.
When you look at O'Day, much taller than you see in Stansberry. So Stansberry somehow was going to have to make up some time because of the size. But, boy, she hung right in there, and, boy, just another exciting close race.
So Sarah O'Day getting the 1-2 in the women's 100 and 200. She does it again right here with a time of 25:52. Just a couple of tenths off her season best. Meanwhile, Jada Stansberry with a heck of a run there in second place. She was the champion of the 400 meters at the Indiana D3 earlier this month, as well as the champion today here at the HCAC Outdoor Championships in the 400, but comes up just a little shy right there to Sarah O'Day, who gets the win.
Well, if you're Stansberry, you're kind of wondering where could I have made a little bit of a difference to make up that short of amount of time, but I don't think there was anything. And again, you ran earlier, everybody's run their events, but that was just a great run race there by O'Day, and sometimes you can get him at the ribbon, sometimes it doesn't happen that way, but again, great race as we thought it would be.
So now Keith Myers is going to have to walk and talk here with Sarah O'Day as she goes over to the awards banquet.
Hello, there we go. I'll walk over with you. You okay? You want to give me that medal now?
Yeah, I want it.
You want it? Okay, congratulations. Job done. First, 2 wins in a row?
Yep.
It's the glitter.
It is the glitter.
All right. Congratulations. Job well done. Congratulations. She's winded. She's like, leave me alone.
Well, after 2 races, I can certainly understand why. So a big win there for Sarah O'Day, making her mark from Franklin College, getting the win here at her home track and field complex.
Hey, fellas, the medal table looks pretty empty. It's getting emptier.
Yeah, it is.
We're running through many events here. In fact, we only have a handful more left to go after the men's section. We only have the women's and men's 5,000 and then the 4x400 meter relay over the next hour or so. So the event's winding down here. We're going to have to get a check on the score here at some point to see what the score outlook looks like so far. Again, it was certainly interesting the last time we got an update.
It was so close that I'm just going to be curious to see when they update those where we're going to be right now. Too close to call about an hour ago, probably too close to call right now. And again, as soon as we get those numbers, we'll definitely pass them along.
Keith Myers will probably put Keith Myers on that task now, as he's our roving reporter, has been doing an excellent job of doing that as well so far here today.
Keith has put in some miles. We mentioned about him. He's put his phone, of course, in progress today to track his the amount of feet that he's run or walked or whatever he's planning on doing. I guess he's got some numbers for
Let's
us.
take a look, Keith Myers.
Hanover is 153, Rose-Hulman at 145, Manchester at 139.5, and Franklin at 79. That's the women's. That's the top four. I'll get you the men's here in just a second.
So Rose-Hulman getting up in front there and staying up in front as they were not up in front at the beginning of the day, but they've taken the lead now in the team standings.
Yeah, and just an hour ago they weren't, and so they've really come on strong here in the last few events. And like we talked about, it's about the numbers, about the depth. Get as many points as you can in each and every event, and then they've been able to do that. But it's going to be close. We're going to have to wait and see when it's all said and done. It could be too close to call.
And they're going to go ahead and move right in to the men's 200-meter dash. So here we'll see Jalen Hobbs try to follow up his conference record performance from earlier today in the men's 100-meter dash.
Well, I know they want to stay on schedule. I certainly understand that from an athlete standpoint. But if you know the rain might be coming and you get some lightning and such, you may want to pick it up a little bit. Because, again, we're talking about any time, at any point, when you see the clouds right now, you could get a pop-up thunderstorm just like that. So I think they need to move quick.
Hey, Troy, I did ask about that, and it is a rule that you have to have certain amount of rest time between the events. So if they could, they would, but they cannot.
So my question then is, knowing the circumstances the way they are, if you do have something that moves in, what happens then the rest of the day if you can't go? Okay.
We'll answer that question here in just a little bit as we get set for the 200-meter dash for the men. We're underway. Again, Jalen Hobbs back in this field again. He has a clean start, a nice turn ran there by the junior. And we're into the stretch. And again, it is Jalen Hobbs well out in front, and he is dominating like he did in the 100. He will cruise to a win here in the 200. He is close to a new personal best, which was 21:55 coming into the day. We'll check the score. 21:51 is a new personal best for him, just off the conference record set back in 2004.
Yeah, he's dominant. We watched him in the indoor at the 60-meter race and said he was just incredible and just so strong. Good finish, good start. Just again, you expect him to be the favorite.
Meanwhile, big run there as well in the 200 for the men there. As we'll get a look again, and that is Gabriel Melvin coming in second there for Manchester. As Keith Myers is going to let Jalen Hobbs catch a little bit of his breath here. He certainly deserves it there. Another big win there for Hobbs, Keith Myers.
Yes, sir. You ready? He's so talkative. We're getting used to this winner's circle stuff.
Say it again.
You're used to this winner's circle stuff. You like doing this?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm going to let you go. I know you want to go get your medal because you got to get something ready to go, right? Congratulations, Chad. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. I think, what is that, second or third time today?
At least.
Yeah.
That's his second win of the day. And so he gets another medal here today. So 21:51 his winning time right there, as well as a good run by Gabriel Melvin coming in second and getting some crucial points there for Manchester.
If you saw the Manchester team come to them after that, they scored some big points there. And they were very, very happy. May not have won, but they were happy to get the points.
Every point counts here when it comes to the sport of track and field. And so they have the results of the men's 200-meter dash, which means Keith Myers will have a score update for us from the overall competition here in just a little bit. But first, we'll tease the next event on the docket now, which is going to be the women's 5,000-meter run. That will be a hefty chunk of time taken out here right now as we only have a handful of events left to go. And Troy, we see some clouds starting to move in a little bit from the west here. Of course, we had a radar update from Jerry Collins here, but first let's get a score update from Keith Myers.
Score update, Rose-Hulman at 175, Manchester at 141, Bluffton jumping to 104, and Hanover at 60. That's the top 4.
So that is the men's competition right there for Rose-Hulman and Manchester, 1-2 in the team standings. But still, only about 34 points separate them through the last 3 events. And Troy Derengowski, 34 points in the sport of track and field is quite a margin.
Yeah, it is. And so you're going to have to perform very, very well here in these final few events. And that also determines how many athletes do you have that will participate in each and every one of these events to try to score those points. So it's going to be tough, not impossible yet, but the window of opportunity is starting to close a little bit right now.
So we're underway in the women's 5,000 meter run. So we'll slow the pace down here, but ramp up the distance as the wind has certainly been picking up a little bit now as the atmosphere changes with the expecting inclement weather.
Well, you'd only, again, you're going from a little warmer weather, then all of a sudden the clouds come in, it gets a little bit cooler, so you're having to adjust to that. You still have the winds, as you said, they're circulating from just about everywhere, so you really can't count on knowing where they're going to be in today's action. So, in 5,000 meters, a lot of things can change.
And one of the runners in this field that Keith Myers talked to earlier was Amberly Sorensen, who was the winner in the women's 400-meter hurdles. She is now in this event here at 5,000 meters. In fact, she has the leading time from earlier this year at 18 minutes 42 seconds. Of course, I should correct myself. It was Amberly Sorensen in the 800 meters that she won earlier today. But Sorensen has only run one other 5,000 earlier this year. That was back at the Wabash Huntsman, where she placed 6th. She's also running the 1,500 this year, where she placed 2nd at the Indiana D3. She is also the champion of the HCAC indoor and the 800, as well as the champion here today in the outdoor variety. As Sorensen was actually out to the lead there, but now you see a little bit of a pushing of the pace by Elsa King of Rose-Hulman, who now leads the field here through this 5,000 meters in the first 2 minutes.
And as you said, the pace. Who likes to pace? Who likes to follow the pace? Depends on, again, what kind of runner you are. Do you want them in front? Then you kind of know what you have to do toward the end. But this is grueling. 5,000 is a long, long way.
And again, it is Sorensen getting back out in front, along with her teammate Sarah Jones, it appears. And so the freshman Sarah Jones, along with the senior Amberly Sorensen. You have 4 runners from Hanover in this field. You have Sorensen along with Jones, and then Ashley Cenarius and Shelby Stogmuller. So lots of ample point scoring opportunities there here for Hanover if they can put together a good race. But still, it is Jones and Sorensen pacing the field as a team here in this women's 5,000.
Well, again, there's no separation as you see them getting close to turn 3. And you could even see some of the runners talking to each other as they were coming around here in turn 1. So they kind of have an idea what they're going to do as teammates, because they're going to tandem together in whatever they need to do to get some points here, but they will be a little spread out from the runners that are trailing. But I wouldn't be too surprised here. Pretty soon you'll start seeing some separation.
And that's Basil Gates on the outside there from Bluffton, putting a little pressure on the 2 front leaders there from Jones and Sorensen.
You know, after a day, yesterday, today, you kind of wonder how much do they have in their legs. And I would venture that at this stage you're running a lot on adrenaline and guts, because it's getting to the point now where you put in a lot of meters so far here on this track.
So again, now it's Basil Gates getting up there in the front with Jones and Sorensen. And again, you see a little bit of a push from Elsa King from Rose-Hulman out front, and she is going to push the pace again here as they work through the first fourth here of this race. And once again, there is Sorensen getting right back there with King.
Yeah, you saw King get up just a little bit, and then the pack came back. But you're also seeing, again, that lead pack. Runners are starting to drop off 1, 2, 3 at a time. And we'll get to the top 4 or 5 here relatively soon.
And here, Troy, you see where distance running, especially when it comes to track and field distance running, not only is a sport of just personal physical exertion, it's a chess match out there of getting in the right position.
It is. It really is. You know, you talked about when we were mentioning some of the runners earlier, sometimes you get a little physical depending on where you're at and trying to jockey for a position. But you know, because if you're going to make a move, at some point you're either going to have to go to the outside and around, or you're going to have to go through some of them. So we'll see how this works out here. But the nice news is for this, in the 5,000, if they start to spread out, you can work that a little bit more into your game plan.
So at the moment, it is Elsa King out in front along with Sarah Jones of Hanover. Elsa King, a season best this year of 19 minutes, 41 seconds. She was 4th place at the 5,000 in the Indiana D3 earlier this year. She also finished 2nd in the 3,000 meters at the Indoor Conference Championship back in February.
Here's one other thing I might mention real quick is now at this stage, you don't want that lead pack, especially if you're the second pack, you don't want that lead pack to get too far away, because then you start thinking there's no way I'm going to be able to make a strong run here, because you start talking about meters and it's going to be really, really hard, because right now you're talking about, 6 runners in that lead pack? It'll be tough to get to them.
Elsa King still out in front, along with Sarah Jones holding her spot in 2nd place. Basil Gates moving back into 3rd for Bluffton. And then you also have Elizabeth Lohman in this lineup. Not someone who usually takes on the 5,000 meters, but she is in it here today.
So this is where we get a chance, where we're located, to kind of see them, see how their face is, how their body language might be a little bit here coming by us. Again, it's going to start wearing you down a little bit more, and those lead runners are going to start picking it up. You even see some separation right here of a couple of the runners that were in this lead pack have fallen back off the pace just a little bit.
So probably one more lap here before we get to the halfway point of this 5,000 meters.
Well, you've gone back again from the warm sun. Every time that the sun goes behind the clouds, that wind begins to pick up a little bit more. So then all of a sudden now you find yourself having to battle that. I'm not sure if you want the sun out where it's a little bit warmer, or you want the clouds to come in, because then you got to battle that wind the way they're having to right now.
So the Hanover runners have moved to the back of this pack, as well as you see Sorensen now splitting the difference between Gates and Lohman. And this pack of front 6 runners just jockeying for position right now, with Elsa King still leading here for Rose Holman.
And here it is. You mentioned a little bit ago, they're the 6 runners at the lead. And just make sure, if you're number 6, keep everybody within distance. And you can see even a little bit now where some of those in the 6 starting to trail back a little bit. The elites are going to step up here relatively soon.
Elsa King still the leader. Hannah Brubaker right there, along with her teammate Sarah Elizabeth Lohman from Manchester. So 1 Rose Holman runner, 2 Manchester runners, as well as 2 runners from Hanover and 1 from Bluffton here in this front 6.
We'll give him credit, even number 6 hanging right in there.
And that is Amberly Sorensen. Again, she has the best time of the year in this event so far at 18 minutes 42, but she is showing a few signs of letting the pack kind of get away from her right now, as you see a little bit of a gap between that 5th runner and Gates and Sorensen.
Yeah, you could tell when they came by us the last time. I said you kind of look at their faces and you can see those who are struggling, and it's going to take a lot here in these last few laps to really keep that kind of pace.
So it's Sarah Jones now in that front 5, with Sorensen starting to fall off the pace. Jones, 3rd place at the Indiana D3 in the 5,000. She was also third in the 5,000 meters at the indoor conference championship. She has run 3 5Ks so far this year, so she has arguably the most experience so far this year. As you see Sorensen make a little bit of a push, and she's right back up there now.
Yeah, you know what, Kurt, and you're right. When you've run it and you have experience, it makes all the difference in the world.
So Amberly Sorensen kind of taking a little bit of a active rest to let 10 meters separate her and the rest of this pack, and now she is right back up with this front 6. So 10 minutes down here in this 5,000 meters. We'll go ahead and take a break. The finish coming at you next right here on Indiana SRN.
Hey, conductor, how about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks. Shh, we're trying to hear.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorite.
I get her, not solo.
You see my kid?
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
We're back here at the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships here on IndianaSRN alongside Troy Derengowski. I'm Kurt Darling. The front field has whittled now to about 3.5 runners, as you can see right there. Sarah Jones starting to lose a little bit of touch with the front 3 now. That is Elsa King along with Elizabeth Lohman and Hannah Brubaker up front there for Rose Holman in Manchester.
Process of elimination as the race continues to go, and the strong will always end up coming out here at the end, and that's what you're seeing right now. But the finish is going to be a fun one. It's going to be close.
So that is Elsa King out in front for Rose Holman. A season best 19 minutes, 41 seconds. And there you see Sarah Jones starting to lose a little bit of touch and continuing to fall off the pace. So, and then there were 3 in the women's 5,000 meters. That is Lohman and Brubaker just stalking Elsa King up front right now.
Yeah, the 2 Manchester runners you see going by us right now, they can pick up some big points right here. They're not going to let the leader get out of their reach at all.
Just sticking with each other now, going through the back straight.
You know, and you look at the consistency of the top 3, setting the pace early. They've been there throughout the entire race, and you kind of felt at some point they were going to make that move, and you see how much of a big separation it is. But I can't wait to see how this is going to finish out. This is going to be close.
So probably about 5 minutes remaining, depending on how the pace shakes out here. Again, the wind is whipping around this place. It's been coming out of the west. It's been coming out of the east, pretty much all directions right now, as we have some ominous clouds starting to form off to our west. Again, the closest rain that we've seen as our last check of the radar was around Terre Haute, and it is moving this way. So not only are these athletes racing against each other, the whole meet is racing against possible inclement weather that could impact what goes on through these last couple of hours or so. In fact, we have an hour and a half left to go here on the broadcast. As again, Elsa King, Lohman, and Brubaker, the top three runners you have on your screen right now, well out ahead of fourth place Sarah Jones.
Yeah, there won't be a move made by any one of these three runners until the bell lap, and that's when somebody's going to have to put it in the next gear.
And you see the gap, just for some perspective right there on that, as the leaders go now into the back straight.
Yeah, it's gotten big. It's down to 3, but again, the other runners can still score some points here, but it is now just 3. And they are right there together. Again, you're going to come down to the bell lap, and then we'll see who has the most left in the tank.
That bell lap coming up here in just a few laps or so. Conference record set by Heather Waterman of Franklin back in 2011. That was a time of 16 minutes 58 seconds, which is a blistering pace. That was set back then. A little off that pace right now, as you see a little bit of movement now up front. That is Hannah Brubaker turning on the Jets right now, pushing the pace here as we approach the latter half of this race.
Well, now the question is, yeah, you've moved out ahead, but are you going too soon? Because it's actually now you've got 4 runners right there, Rose Holman and Manchester. That's a little surprising right there.
So going around some lap traffic right there are those top 3, and they have now expanded back out. So this is Hannah Brubaker all by herself out in front here for Manchester. At best time this year of 19 minutes 10 seconds, was 4th place in this event at this meet just 1 year ago. She was 2nd place in the 5,000 meters at the Indiana D3 earlier this season, but she was the champion of both the 3,000 and the 5,000 at the conference indoor meet back in February.
Well, I'm not surprised at the push, because we had witnessed what she was able to do in the indoor. But to have still the legs and the energy to do this at this late stage in the meet is very impressive.
So it's Brubaker right now leading her teammate, as you can see, kind of getting around some lap traffic there, in Elizabeth Lohman. This is, by the way, Elizabeth Lohman's first 5,000 meter race this season, and she is running in 2nd place.
Wow.
Bell lap here for Hannah Brubaker. Manchester holding the top 2 spots right now. And there was Elsa King going right by in 3rd for Rose Holman, well off the pace. But there are your top 2. And now you see Elizabeth Lohman starting to reel in her teammate. And now Lohman getting right back in it here. It's going to be a battle of Manchester right here through the final 250 meters. And there goes Lohman to take the lead here by her teammate Brubaker.
Boy, that's impressive there on the back stretch. And now starting to put distance at 1 and 2. That's really impressive.
So Elizabeth Lohman kind of bought her time a little bit now, and now has opened up about a couple lengths lead to come into the final stretch. And so Elizabeth Lohman for Manchester going 1-2 in this event, as it would appear is going to be huge for the point standings as they see fit right now. So Elizabeth Lohman comes home. She is your conference champion here in the HCAC. Hannah Brubaker, the runner-up. What a performance there from these two runners.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was impressive. And the way that Lohman turned it on there in the backstretch and then just simply finish so strong. Great race.
So the two teammates embrace as the wind getting a little bit more gusty right now as we approach the men's 5,000. And so still going to await the final results here as we have several other runners coming home for their final finishes as well. But Elizabeth Lohman's personal best time set last year was 18 minutes 52 seconds.
Well, end of the day, setting the pace the way that she did from beginning to end, and then the way that she had enough energy to turn it on. I know Keith is going to talk to her, and hopefully she'll have plenty of breath left here.
Are you winded?
I am, yeah.
Nice race. That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
So talk a little bit about the pace. You had that bunch of 3 or 4 with you, and you set that pace, and then you just took off.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to run it as even as possible and make it a sit and kick, and it was a little weird at the beginning, but it was a good, honest race. So.
Congratulations, champ.
Thank you.
All right, back up to you guys.
Thank you very much, Keith Myers. So again, still waiting for some more finishers here as the rest of the field will come home in the women's 5,000 meters. And then we'll get set for the men. We still don't have the official time yet, as timing and storing is still waiting for other finishers to come home. And we will get that to you as soon as we can. So while we wait for the finishers to come home, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll have the official time for Elizabeth Lohman, your champion of the 5,000.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. His land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Needing to hire someone to take care of your loved one when you're away? Maybe your family member just needs someone to talk to when you're not around. Why not contact Indiana licensed Serenity Care Services? Call Angela, owner of Serenity Care Services, at 317-900-6202. Our team of trained and experienced personal care providers are licensed to serve seniors requiring companion care and light housekeeping services in Indianapolis and its 5 surrounding counties. Call us today at 317-900-6202. Now hiring qualified applicants.
We will be going down to Transy on Saturday. Transy won 27-4. It was a running clock after the first quarter.
We're getting set now for the men's 5,000 meters, and we're also running against the weather now as we have a lot more rain cells starting to pop up around the area, so they are going to move quickly here to get the men's 5,000 underway here in just a little bit here. Alongside Troy Darengowski, I am Kurt Darling. Heck of a race there for Elizabeth Lohman, who ran a best time there at 19 minutes 8 seconds, which is a new season best for her. And that was a competitive time that she put up there, but also, Troy, we talked about it, heck of a chess match played there by Elizabeth Lohman.
Yeah, it was, and she ran, I would say, in these conditions with the way the sun has been out, the wind has come up, the wind has gone down, you've got gusts everywhere, for her to, in whatever strategy she was using, it worked out perfectly. And she made that kick at the end when she needed to, got the lead on the back stretch, and then after that, I just thought it was overall just a fantastic race by her today.
So we're about a minute away from the start of the men's 5,000 meters, and this, again, will be a competitive field with a lot of big names, including one Enrique Salazar, who had a heck of a run earlier today in the men's 1,500 meters. He had a win in the 10,000 meters just yesterday. Now he's going to cut that distance in half and go for the 5,000 meter championship here today. He had a win in the Indiana D3 in that very discipline as well, a best time this year of 14 minutes 32 seconds, which, believe it or not here, Troy, is 6 seconds faster than the meet record here today. So he has a chance to set a new meet record today if he wants to push the pace that hard.
Yeah, and that'll be the key. Will he decide to push it, or will he decide, thinking more about the points? But you know what? Nothing would surprise me about Salazar, the way he runs. I've just been amazed at just how effortlessly he attacks the track and his opponents, and he's always at the front, but he doesn't always have to be the lead runner. He can follow the pace and then make his move from there.
So as they go through the lineup here for the men's 5,000 meters. Again, the meet record set back in 2007 by Sean Hudson of Anderson. 14 minutes, 37 seconds. Enrique Salazar has already gone 14:32 this year, so he can set a new meet record. But you're still going to be seeing some big performances as well from several other big players. You'll have Connor Havens back in this as well, but also you can expect a good one from Connor Del Carmen from Earlham, who has a season-best 15:11 this year. He was the winner of the 5,000 meters at the Allen County Shamrock Invite earlier this season, and the runner-up in the 5,000 at the HCAC Indoor. We are underway here in the men's 5,000 meters, doing a waterfall start here to start. As you can see, that's when they have a field a little bit bigger than what the width of the track will allow, so they do a little bit of a stagger to make up around that first turn, and then they fall back into place.
Well, you mentioned Connor Del Carmen, only a sophomore. Keep an eye on him, but you see Salazar right there at the top. Again, you'll see the field start to try to get some positioning. A couple of runners you saw in the first turn there kind of stumbling a little bit over the other ones because you're so close together. But that field will start to spread apart here relatively soon.
So you'll see Salazar and Havens literally stay hip to hip pretty much most of this race. That is kind of the teamwork that they play. You mentioned, rather Keith Myers mentioned earlier that today when he was talking with Enrique Salazar that's what they do. They run as a team in these races, and that is what Rose Holman appears to be doing at the outset right here. As you have Rose Holman runners out 1-2 and Connor Del Carmen right there for Earlham in third.
Yeah, you talk about the strategy. That's what it is right now. And the thing is, the strategy can change throughout the race, kind of depending on how you may feel after 3 or 4 laps and maybe how your teammate may feel. And then, of course, you got to also consider what is around you in competition. So keep an eye on things as we go. Everybody's strong early, and I'm sure there's a lot of tired legs right now here toward the end of this meet, but now's the time you need to take it up to another level.
That is Thomas Tullius out in front for Rose Holman, along with John Slies, the Fighting Engineers, out in front of the Spartans here for Manchester, with Salazar and Connor Havens in third and fourth place.
And with talking with the Manchester coach earlier today, one of these he says is they have to set that pace, but they got to meet that mark. And if they're not meeting the mark, then everybody knows to step up the pace a little bit, because they would like to stretch this out with 1 or 2 laps to go. They would like to have no doubt of who's going to win this thing.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is you have coaches that are many times located around the track. They've got the watch. They can tell you, hey, you need to pick it up.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
And they don't talk softly to you
they don't.
as they do that to you. It's like our producer, as he says, take a break.
You take a break.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, or you get in trouble. Yeah. Or you pick up the pace.
Yes, please.
Samuel Wilson right there in 5th spot from Franklin, putting some pressure on Salazar, who holds his own in 4th place, now moving up to 3rd. And now Salazar going to move up to the front and try and push the pace here with Tullius of Rose-Hulman. So it is Rose-Hulman, Manchester, Rose-Hulman, Franklin, and Manchester, your top 5.
And Troy, you saw the finger motion that he moved his teammate out of the way, so he get that move.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is you saw Salazar move to the outside, come back to the inside. Listen, when you're running, a lot of times you don't like that big crowd right there because you might get tripped up first off, and I wouldn't want that to happen because then you got to make up a lot of ground. So Salazar moved to the outside, try to give himself a little breathing room, and then move on from there.
The pack is certainly staying tight right now, but it is a brisk pace that is being set at the moment as you have 2 Rose-Hulman runners back out in front, kind of coordinating with each other. Again, just pushing the pace. You also, again, see Connor Del Carmen now getting his first look up front now. So you have the 2 Earlham runners getting into the mix in the front 6.
One thing we're noticing, though, and again, I know we're toward the end of the meet, but we've got some ominous-looking clouds to our west, in fact, to our southwest. We're going to have to really be watching. These pop-up storms have now all of a sudden jumped around in the area, and we thought they would be.
Hopefully we can get these last 3 events left ready to go here, as once again still Thomas Tullius out in front for Rose-Hulman. And then you have Salazar right there, just keeping the pace and getting in the right position to be in over the last couple of laps or so. We're approaching the halfway point here in the men's 5,000 meters. Again, Thomas Tullius had a season-best run, 15:22. He was 5th at the Wabash Huntsman in the 5,000 earlier this year, 5th in the indoor meet at the 5,000. He also won the 3,000 meters at the DePaul Indoor Invite earlier this year and was 6th at the 10,000 meters at the Indiana D3 Indoor. Two Rose-Hulman runners back out in front. That's John Slies, who has been running in and out there, and you see a little bit of conversation being had amongst the runners right there. That is Earlham's Connor Del Carmen putting a little smile right there with his competitor. That is also Caleb Gusinski of Anderson right up in the mix.
Yeah, you know what? And you're starting not to see separation. Everybody, you talk about probably 15 runners right there, are still within striking distance. But now you're starting to see just a little spread. And with those lead runners, they're going to start making their move relatively soon. It'll be interesting to see who's going to stay with that lead pack, because now, even if you're probably 10 back, 11 back, you're starting to see things get a little bit out of your reach.
You also see the separation now between Salazar and Connor Havens of Manchester. Salazar still holding his own in second, but Connor Havens has now moved back to about the 7th position. So coming around now, Tullius still holding the lead now with Salazar right on his tail, which has been the case all race long.
Right now, the wind behind them, I mean, it's again, you turn around and I look back to the north and all of a sudden the wind's coming that way. So this is interesting how this wind has really affected these athletes as they're running here today. It's crazy.
Enrique Salazar still holding in second place. He was the winner of the 3,000, the 5,000, and the mile in the indoor iteration of this conference championship. He also took part in the 10,000 meters at the NCAA D3 Outdoor National Championships last year, where he finished 13th. But again, Salazar being very patient now as we hit 7 minutes, 30 seconds, about halfway home here in this men's 5,000.
But all the runners have a pretty good idea when they're ready to make that move. And you don't want to make it too early and then find out that you gassed yourself out too fast. But these guys, I mean, again, they've been running against each other quite a bit, so they kind of know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. So there's not a whole lot of mystery right here.
That is Thomas Tullius, John Slies there of Rose-Hulman. Right there in front with Salazar on the inside of your camera shot. And that is Connor Del Carmen right behind Salazar.
I noticed Del Carmen, a lot of the runners have their eyes up. His eyes are right down in front of him. You know, I'm sure it's probably for some runners a little bit easier just not to even focus on anything other than what's right in front of you. I would imagine for myself, if I run in 5,000 meters, I'm not trying to look at anything else but what's in front of me. It's interesting to see how other runners may approach how they're going to run a race as opposed to others. So the pace is probably going to slow down a little bit here pretty soon, but then we're going to see who's going to come out of that pack.
Caleb Gashinsky of Anderson poking his head right up into that top 5. He's also getting a little bit of a visit there from a couple Franklin runners now who are moving into the mix, and that is Jack Sells on the outside, the top Franklin runner now. So Jack Sells along with John Asplund. So the Franklin Grizzlies now putting a little bit of pressure as far as the team game is concerned into this front mix. That is, again, Sells moving up in front right there behind Tullius alongside Salazar. And now the game of chess really starts to begin as Del Carmen moves out ahead.
Yeah, it's then you find out here once they make that turn who start to get serious about this and when you can make a move, and if you feel maybe at this stage that you've got enough in that tank where you can perhaps lead the pack and really see what goes from there. But you know what's interesting about this is that you still got so many runners right there. I don't know how this is going to finish. You know, Salazar will be there as usual, but these are the other runners. It's going to be interesting to see who has what left in the tank the rest of the way.
And now Del Carmen and Salazar along with Connor Havens pushing the pace now. The top 3 runners in the conference this year are now the top 3 runners in this particular race.
You know, the one thing about it, if it comes down to the bell lap and Salazar is right there 1, 2, and 3, he's got, I think, a much stronger sprint toward the finish line than maybe the other runners do, because we've seen him do it so many times. But there you see it right there.
Only a handful of laps to go now. Salazar back out into the lead, and Carmen is going to be battling with him as well for position along with Connor Havens.
Well, much like what we saw in the women's 5,000, we're seeing the same thing here. You have the group staying close together, and now the elites are going to start taking over, and it's going to be a 3-man race.
Salazar and Del Carmen. Havens trying to hold on to him as they really start cranking up the pace.
Salazar, a senior, and we talked about his ability in what we saw earlier. We saw it in the indoor championships as well. You know, he gets out that lead, and sometimes he'll pull back. Sometimes he'll take back the lead again. He's doing it right now.
Connor Del Carmen was the runner-up in this event a year ago. Only a freshman then, now a sophomore. And now coming to about 2 laps to go, here is Salazar and Del Carmen. They are now moving away from Connor Havens of Manchester. It appears to be a 2-man race now between the 2 top times in the conference this year, Enrique Salazar and Connor Del Carmen.
And they both look strong. They came right in front of us. You really didn't see a whole lot of fatigue on their face. In fact, both runners are very effortlessly in what they do. This is going to be fun here between these two.
Salazar still holding his stride, looking very, very poised now as they get through lap traffic for the first time here in this race. So through the final 200 here of this particular lap. And it is still Salazar and Del Carmen. Enrique Salazar, the defending champion of the 1,500 meters. He defended that title earlier today, winning the 10,000 yesterday. Will now have traversed nearly 18,000 meters in 2 days as Salazar now putting a little bit more pressure now as now we come to 2 to go.
Well, he's going to be tough to catch because he looks really fresh once he came past us. I mean, he always looks that way. You're not sure he is that way, but he certainly doesn't let on that he's fatigued.
Salazar pulling away now. Has opened about a 10-meter lead here over Del Carmen.
Well, as I said earlier, Kurt, he's a great sprinter at the end. And if he gets a big lead, in fact, he's got a lead right now, I would find hard that he's going to relinquish this. He's so strong as a senior.
So here comes Enrique Salazar. Probably one of the most competitive runners that we have seen in recent memory here at the HCAC. Coming to the final 400 meters, and he's going to be well off the pace of a conference record here today, but he is still well out and ahead to try and get these crucial 10 points here for Manchester. And as we know, Troy, Manchester was down 34 points to Rose-Hulman before a couple of these last couple of races. These points will really come in handy here over the final couple of events or so, as we only have the 4x4 left after this.
Yeah, this is big, and you can, in fact, see some of the teammates running, trying to encourage these runners to make a move here because the points are going to be so big here at the end. And I tell you what, I've just been so impressed with Enrique Salazar when we saw him earlier this year, and how this guy can come back race after race after race, and when he goes by, he doesn't look tired at all. It's amazing.
So Enrique Salazar winning the 1,500 today, winning the 10,000 meters yesterday, and he is going to cruise home to his third win and his third conference championship of the meet. He wins with ease here in the 5,000, 15:17. Rather, 15:14, his official time here. A heck of a run by him. Connor Del Carmen, a valiant effort for him from Earlham, coming in second place. And now, a big run and some big points there from Drew Meter of Transylvania. But also Connor Havens coming home in a big third place as well for Manchester. So Manchester coming away with 16 points here. Meanwhile, the top runner from Rose-Hulman was John Slice at 6th place. That is a huge swing in points right there for Manchester.
Boy, that is big, and as you said a little bit ago, I can't wait to see what the numbers look like right now. That just shows you, again, you can come down to the last couple of events and just know how important it is to go clear to the end. And again, when we saw the student athletes cheering these guys on because they knew points were needed, and everybody getting into it knowing there's a championship on the line.
So now we got to keep moving along here as they finish the men's 5,000 meters. We'll get ready for the women's 4x400 meter relay, which will be the final event of this women's meet before we crown a champion.
Well, they're going to want to move quickly here. I know earlier you guys gave me the tongue lashing on starting maybe events early, but if you want to get it in, sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to miss out, and we don't want that to happen. So.
Well, we'll see right now. Still some ominous clouds beginning. They're still moving in here throughout central Johnson County.
Well, the one thing you don't want right now is a lightning bolt. So I didn't mean to jinx us there, but you can't see that. We just need to get this final race in and everything get out of here.
And so in anticipation of the rain, we've had to commandeer the equipment from one Keith Myers, who is certainly did an excellent job here today. But in the event of inclement weather, we are going to make sure that we have all our equipment put away and dry so we can continue bringing you future broadcasts right here on Indiana SRN.
Yeah, well, you know what? We've got one of our camera guys up there in that lift. Yeah, you know, the thing is, he don't want to see a lightning bolt either.
Trust me,
any of us.
Trust me, the moment it starts raining, we are going to get everybody into safety as well as the equipment. So, getting everybody off the track now, the women's 4x400 meter relay getting in position to try and get the deciding event.
Have we asked him how his insurance is yet, or is it bad insurance? So it really doesn't matter. Hey, whatever you do up there, just make sure the camera stays working, okay? You know, we can get rid of you, but not the camera, okay?
There's this public service announcement brought to you by Troy Darengowski, everybody. So the team's getting in position now for the women's 4x400 meter relay, as are the medal winners here in the men's 5,000 meters. It was a heck of a run by Enrique Salazar.
He's fun to watch. You know, not only is he humble when he gets done, but you know that, well, all of them put in a lot of hard work and a lot of miles, but he's been fun. His senior year's been, I know, just eventful for him and the entire program there at Manchester, but he's been a catalyst for this outdoor program for 4 years.
So before we go any further, today's broadcast is copyrighted by Indiana SRN and the Indiana High School Athletic Association for the in the HCAC, actually, for the private use of our audience. The use of pictures and audio without the express written permission of the HCAC is strictly prohibited.
Threw you a curveball there, didn't they?
Just a little bit,
they
yeah.
didn't warn you.
They gave me the IHSAA version instead of the HCAC version. All the same, though.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's been an excellent broadcast and an excellent event here today, put on here by the HCAC. And so now the final event here for the women, the 4x400 meter relay. We'll be doing it 2 sections of this. We'll have Earlham in lane 3, Defiance in lane 4, Transylvania lane 5, Bluffton in lane 6, and Anderson in lane 7. And we just got word from our producer, Jerry Collins, that the weather's about 15 minutes away.
So we better hurry? So is the strategy better for all of us to rip stuff down and put it wherever it goes, or do you want to be a little more...
We're just going to get stuff underneath something that keeps it dry. Let's put it that way.
All right, very good.
So everybody getting in their exchange zones now at the direction of the official. There you see the official talking with Jada Stansberry, who is going to be the second leg here for this Anderson 4x4.
You know, I know they're going to move the award ceremony out away from the elements. Yeah, we won't be able to stay with that, but it'll be interesting to see on the women's side who the athlete of the year will be. And, of course, on the men's side, I mean, I think Enrique Salazar would be right up there, but there's a lot of different names you can float around on both sides.
Of course, Jada Stansberry, the freshman, getting the win in that 400 meters in dominating fashion earlier today. Certainly interesting seeing her lining up as the second leg, but it's certainly all about strategy, depending on how you want to approach it.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to keep bringing it up again, but the wind is now blowing from the west again. We've seen it going from the south, the north, the east, the west. So how do you adjust here?
So we're underway here in the 4x4. This is always known in track and field as the most exciting event in track because it usually is the one that decides who wins the meet. And it's already a pretty good start here for this first of two sections here for Transylvania. You also have Earlham in lane 3 out in the early lead now. Meanwhile, Defiance actually the one out in front, coming from lane number 4.
Again, watch the handoff here, the exchange. Want it to be clean, but you also want the lead runner here to get a decent start.
So Defiance going to have a pretty hefty lead here after making up the stagger already. Kind of a slow handoff there for Defiance, but they get it clean, and now here comes Transylvania already making up the stagger here on Defiance.
Yeah, I thought that a couple of the exchanges were a little bit slow. And you have the two different ways that you look at it now, where we talked about the old way they used to do it is put the hand back and go. When the runner came close, you'd yell go, but now you see so many runners have to reach back, and they're really not getting much of a head start.
Transylvania opening up a massive lead right now on Defiance in second place. And we'll get a look at that gap here. You can see it's almost a whole half turn as Transylvania will now come home to finish the first, or rather that's actually Earlham, excuse me. Earlham and Transylvania wearing very similar colors here. Can't quite see the names on the monitor in front of me, but Earlham now coming home with the lead here to halfway home.
Wow.
2 more legs to go. So it's Earlham, Defiance, and then Transylvania. And Jada Stansberry coming home for Anderson for her final leg of the day, as Anderson moves around in 4th place.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a miracle anyone is going to catch Earlham right here. They are really running strong.
So Earlham way out in front now. Again, this is the first of 2 sections. We'll have, of course, points scored from both sections, but the faster section will include teams like Rose-Hulman, Franklin, Manchester, Hanover, and Mount St. Joseph. So into the final exchange, it's Earlham out in front. And the final exchange, Earlham looking strong now. It's about a half-turn lead as Transylvania overtakes Defiance in that leg, as well as Bluffton. And so Defiance really falls off the leg there in that third leg.
Yeah, they certainly have. Yeah, I tell you what, it's amazing how spread out this race got right here. I mean, it happened on the second exchange, and it was pretty much over.
So Earlham dominating this first section of the 4x4. And we'll move right into the second section right after this. So Earlham, good performance here in this first section. They'll get the win. So they come home in a time of 4 minutes, 19 seconds. And everybody really excited about that performance.
Well, they should be. I was impressed by it as well. It wasn't certainly something that you expected at the very beginning, but they got a decent start, but then that second leg, it was strong.
It certainly was strong. So now we move into the second section, and this will be what is traditionally known as the championship section here of the women's 4x4. Rose-Hulman with the top time this year. In fact, They have the top seeded time by 12 seconds over Franklin at 4 minutes 13 seconds, whereas Franklin was at 4:25 for their best top seeded time. So based off of that right there, I think we can expect a good performance from Rose-Hulman here in this section.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So strong. I mean, when you talk about 12 seconds, that is an eternity when you're talking about an event like this. So they're strong in all four runners, and this will be, I would imagine, unless something drastic happens, they're going to really dominate this race.
So everyone already lined up in their respective lanes, moving pretty efficiently now as the weather bears down here on Franklin, Indiana.
You know, the good news is, at least for the moment, it appears that the one cell we were kind of worried about has moved off now to the east. And so we've gotten kind of lucky there, but now we're just keeping an eye on one more to the west. But if we can get this one in, then we can pack up and go home.
So everyone appears to be in position, and we'll soon be set to go. So they get the command here from the official. Final race of the day here for the women. And it's a clean start. And already Rose-Hulman looking strong, about to make up the stagger on Hanover on the outside. And so Rose-Hulman leading off now with Hunter Hayes. And she makes it up already on Franklin, who's already feeling a little pressure.
Yeah, and if you're number 2 or 3, you're thinking right now, keep everything in striking distance, because if Rose-Hulman gets a big lead at number 2, like what we saw in Earlham, this will be pretty quick. And Rose is going to be strong at number 2.
So this is Hunter Hayes with a big lead now for Rose-Hulman. And she comes to the first exchange. A little bit early there for Rose-Hulman. That was very early, awfully close to the exchange zone. Looks like they got it off cleanly.
Yeah, but you're right. It was close. I mean, I think she took off a little bit early and needed to kind of wait up. And generally, again, it used to be a time, maybe I'm wrong these days, but it used to be just a verbal go, and you always kind of knew it was your teammate.
Well, every team has a different cue on when they want people to go and when. But still looks like there was no violation as indicated, so we keep running on here as Rose-Hulman maintains the lead. And now Franklin getting back into your picture now as they have closed to within about a few meters. And they're into the stretch now, and Franklin putting a little bit of pressure on the Fighting Engineers. But still, it's going to be Rose-Hulman holding the lead coming to the next exchange.
All right, who's going to get the advantage here?
And now with a late charge, Manchester moving into second place, challenging for Franklin. But still, Rose-Hulman holds the lead. And they open up a wide gap now going into the back straight.
That's big. That is really big right there. I mean, we talk about being strong at number 2, then you come in at number 3 and just how strong they were.
Again, Rose-Hulman had a best time this year, 4 minutes, 13 seconds coming in. They may be on pace to beat that. So Rose-Hulman coming to the final exchange. They have led from the very beginning. Manchester now being harassed by Hanover, who's moving into third place. Here's the final leg for Rose-Hulman. Franklin in second, Manchester third off the exchange, and Hanover keeping pace in fourth.
Well, this is going to be, again, it's over here, but who's going to get the points at second, third, and fourth is going to be the key. This is just too big of a lead here, and that just shows you how strong Rose-Hulman is.
And this should seal a conference championship today here for Rose-Hulman, depending on how the other events have shaken out. Into the final 150, and Rose-Hulman dominating in this event here today, coming to the final 100. And Rose-Hulman could possibly get a new personal or new season best this year. And so Rose-Hulman gets the win, and with that, more likely ensures a conference championship here for the Fighting Engineers. What a performance here today by those women.
Yeah, it's strong, just so strong here in this final, and it just dominating from number 2 through number 4. It was really impressive.
So we don't have a score update for the women right now after that, but we will certainly get that as soon as we possibly can, if we can. But we do have one for the men, and right now Rose-Hulman leads Manchester 180 to 154. So that means regardless of what happens in the 4x4, Rose-Hulman has won another conference championship.
Yeah, just put another trophy in their trophy case, and coming back after Manchester wins last year, nice strong return this year.
And now they're really moving everybody out quickly here to get the men onto the track here for the 4x400 meter relay. Again, sensing the urgency given the weather.
Yeah, you know, and everybody's watching the radar and have been for maybe the last couple of hours. We had thought perhaps we'd get lucky enough not to see one of those pop-ups, and then all of a sudden pop up, there it is, and we might get lucky enough, but we're trying to get one more in here.
We'll actually have to try and get two more in because we have two sections of the 400 meter.
Yeah,
of the
one more race,
4x400.
two sections, yeah.
So in this section, again, Earlham, Mount St. Joe, Transylvania, and Anderson. While the championship final will have the remaining teams Manchester, Franklin, Bluffton, Rose-Hulman, and Hanover. And that will be an interesting one to watch as well, though, Troy, because Bluffton has the best 4x400 meter relay team seed coming into this one.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. Again, make a little bit of a difference here at the end of the day, and again, as strong as they are, and we kind of know what they have, talking about some of the sprinters they have had earlier today, so they will be definitely one to watch.
So they've wasted no time getting everybody ready to go here for this first section of the men's 4x4. Final event of the day. And it looks like, Troy, we are just going to get it in.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit lucky today, and kind of helped a little bit when the events were moving on a little bit faster, because I think they knew, too, that it was going to be very, very close.
So here are the final team rankings for the women, and Troy, it was awfully close, and we were actually off by a little bit.
Okay.
Including field events. Hanover, 165 points.
Wow.
Manchester, 163.5 points. Rose-Hulman, 161 points.
Wow.
That is how close it was. So congratulations to Hanover.
Wow.
They are the conference champions.
That
for the women.
That is close as you can get.
That is probably the closest score I think I have ever seen in a conference championship at any level of track and field.
Wow, no kidding. Yeah, again, Hanover. Didn't mean to overlook them there, but I didn't think they were going to be that close at the end. So we knew it would be a three-team race. But, boy, they really came on big here this afternoon.
Meanwhile, the first section of the men's 4x4 is underway. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit of sunshine here to close this thing out here, Troy.
We're only missing a little snow, huh? Be a little bit of everything. I feel sprinkles.
All the while feeling a few sprinkles as well. Yes, I am too. Welcome to Indiana in the spring, ladies and gentlemen.
No kidding. And by the way, the high Monday's 49, in case you're wondering.
Oh, great. Meanwhile, Mount St. Joseph off to a good start here. Off of this first leg of the 4x4. Coming on strong, though, is Transylvania coming back again. So it's Mount St. Joseph and Transylvania. Ohio versus Kentucky here in this one.
Well, a couple of those exchanges were a little bit shaky right there.
And now moving up, trying to challenge is Earlham. So 1, 2, and 3 here is Mount St. Joseph, Transylvania, and Earlham. Meanwhile, Anderson well off the pace. Earlham trying to challenge now for second here on Transylvania. Coming to the next exchange, Transylvania gonna move ahead into the lead.
You know what's funny right here is you have about every fan right here at the finish line.
That's how the 4x4 works. We lost top. We lost. And unfortunately, we lost our top cam, so we are going to try and give you what we can here from the start-finish line.
So the weather may have played a factor, huh?
Just a little bit, we'll see. So based off of our limited vantage point now, coming to the final exchange. Transylvania out in front now.
Well, not only now the runners are facing the wind, which stopped. I didn't say stop, but it slowed down quite a bit. Now you're going to go against a little bit of rain, too.
It's starting to spit a little bit more rain now here. We'll keep on as long as we can here. So coming home now in the final leg here of this first section. And it's going to be Earlham coming from third to first right there on the final leg. Heck of a run there by Kimball of Earlham. He had a big win earlier today in the 800. He delivers for his team in the 400 here.
Yeah, strong final lap right there. Just like what we saw with the women in Earlham, doing a nice job, and what a great finish for the day for the Quakers.
And now the wind is really starting to whip around here. We are going to be on the razor's edge here of what appears to be some rain moving into the area now. They are going to do their best to get this final race of this meet in.
Well, and you can hear it in our microphones too. That kind of gives the viewers an idea of what we're facing. And again, it's not a consistent, but it's gusting. And as a runner, you might be feeling pretty good down the backstretch. The wind's behind you, and all of a sudden it switches really quickly, kind of changes the entire dynamic of the race.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and so due to the high winds right now here, which have gotten really consistent, unfortunately we have had to put our eyes in the sky out of commission for now because they are up on a boom lift, so we can't operate the boom lift when the winds are too consistently high, so we are going to be doing our best to bring you the play-by-play of the final event here today, which is the men's 4x4.
Well, we got sun back, though, a little bit. That's always nice. You know, I like this. We're going to try to adjust Do-si-do with the headsets. There you go. Kurt's going to move out front.
So I'm going to be doing live outdoor play-by-play now. I've been, and of course, for people who can't really see, Troy's been kind of my eyes outside right now while I've been calling all the action from the monitor here inside of our tent. But since we don't have our eyes in the sky, going to move out here for now.
There you go.
So here we go in the final section here of the men's 4x4. And it's a clean start. Again, Bluffton and Rose-Hulman going to be the big competitors here in this final section. Rose-Hulman, the best time this year of 3:22.2, while Bluffton 3:21 on the season.
Yeah, that's too close to call, but Bluffton got off to a really, really good start.
And again, no conference championship implications riding on this one as there were for the women's 4x4. Rose-Hulman already having the championship pretty much locked up.
Yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off of your team, and now you can just go out there and relax.
So it's Bluffton and Rose-Hulman here coming to this first exchange. Mount St. Joseph with a good first leg as well. So Bluffton's going to have a slight lead here into the second exchange, and Manchester with Connor Havens running the second leg here for the Spartans with a really good start out of that exchange going into the back straight.
Yeah, I thought Bluffton really exchanged well between 1 and 2. In fact, they got a nice little jump, stayed within their limits, but they were really strong.
So now it is Bluffton, Mount St. Joseph, and Manchester. Rose-Hulman didn't exactly have a keen exchange, but a good one nonetheless to keep them at least somewhat in contention right now. But they are currently running in fourth behind Hanover.
Watch this exchange right here so you can get a little bit of an advantage.
So here it is, Bluffton, followed by Hanover and Franklin now. Rose-Hulman and Manchester battling it out in the back. So Manchester moves into fourth, and Rose-Hulman kind of off on their performance right now. They are in fifth. Bluffton currently holding about a 5-meter lead going down the halfway the back stretch, and now entering turn number 3.
Yeah, watch Manchester too. They made up a lot of ground on the back stretch. They're going to be in contention here.
So it's still Bluffton holding it now over Mount St. Joseph now in second place. Into the final exchange now.
Final exchange under sunshine.
What better way to do it? Bluffton in front, followed by Hanover and Franklin.
Look at Salazar running the leg on this too.
How about that? Salazar adding a few more meters to his total here today. We'll see what he can pull off right now. He has a big kick in distance races. Still, though, it is Bluffton out in front. Holding it around now. And coming to the final 100 meters. Heck of a run today here by Bluffton. And it looks like they are going to be conference champions here in the men's 4x400-meter relay. Hanover and Franklin duking it out for second. It's going to be Hanover by a smidge, and Rose-Hulman getting in fourth place.
Wow, great effort there by Hanover to get that second place finish. But I'll tell you what, Bluffton, kind of the favorites we thought they would be.
And it looks like Manchester didn't finish the race.
Yeah, Salazar, I watched on the backside, and he just disappeared. So I don't know what happened to him.
So we'll try to get an update on that if we can, but certainly in there is Salazar. Looks like he may have dropped the baton at some point, and he finishes in fifth place here for Manchester. So there you have it. That's going to conclude competition for today's HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. And right on time here, Troy, as the wind really starts picking up here. It's sunny right now, but there's some dark clouds off to the west.
Yeah, we're going to have to hurry here because you get a little bit of an island here of sun, but you're right, that second one's coming, and that one's coming at us, not going around us.
Yes, it is. But still, congratulations to Hanover. From the women's side, they barely get a conference championship. Meanwhile, the Rose-Hulman Fighting Engineers, they get a second conference title here, both indoor, now an outdoor here today.
Yeah, great year. Boy, I tell you what, that women's side kind of surprised us a little bit. But again, a fantastic finish all the way around, and we saw a lot of great athletes.
Troy Darengowski, thank you so much
sir.
for working with you today as well. Special thanks to Jerry Collins and the rest of our IndianaSRN crew, as well as Keith Myers on the championship sideline reporting as well. It has been certainly a great day all around here throughout IndianaSRN and the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference. And be sure to, of course, if you weren't able to watch all the competition today, be sure to watch it and upload it at HCAC.tv. You can also catch it all as well at IndianaSRN and IndianaSRN on YouTube. For all of us here at IndianaSRN and HCAC.tv, I am Kurt Darling saying so long till next time. You have been watching the HCAC Outdoor Track and Field Conference Championships here on IndianaSRN. So long, everybody.